Hello and welcome to Season 1, Episode 9 of Blood on the Tamesis, a Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle set in Oxfordshire, England, 2002. With me tonight,
Philip playing Silas Shaw of Clan Brugger.
Bex playing Velvet Riley of Clan Ventru.
Lane playing Joanne Salt of Clan Torrido.
And Carlos playing Theodore Penn of Clan Ventru.
So without any ado of any kind, let's get straight to the recap from last week.
So, Silas carried out a task with Sir Gansuk and also received a worrying note to his door. Meanwhile, Joanne visited August in the hospital and led the investigation into what was happening in the search for Robert Weston.
During the research, Joanne was the victim of a hit and run. While she tried to heal herself, hunger overtook her and she tortured herself to avoid harming anyone, calling Silas before she did.
And Theodore found Eric Matthews, as well as evidence that he was guilty of the crimes the Coterie has suspected. He took Eric into custody and proceeded to educate him in appropriate behavior. Eventually, the Coterie were informed that Barnaby was helping Joanne. He was not keen to pull her out of her torpor, but agreed to do so in order that she could pay her blood tax. And that's where we left it.
Okay, so we finished last week's episode with Theodore having a conversation with Scourge, having found after their long search an address, a location for Robert Weston, who is a elder Malkavian who has been causing the prince some trouble. So, although that happened on Thursday the 23rd of May, we're going to briefly skip backwards because I wanted to finish on that point last week. There were a couple of scenes we didn't get a chance to play out that we're going to do. So we're going to go back towards the start of 2002 and check in with some of our characters. So the first person we're going to check in with is Velvet. So this is Wednesday the 16th of January. And the scene we're going to come into is set in the secret love nest where Velvet has been obviously meeting with Adam. And one of the things that has been occurring is there has been increasingly this idea of you nipping at each other, you testing the boundaries of, are you going to drink blood from each other? You know, or Velvet knows, that drinking the blood of a vampire, of course, can lead to being bound, but it is possible to mutually drink from each other. And you will know from the little Wallace has said on such things that this would be an absolutely terrible idea, and kind of, and the kind of one of the worst acts of degradation a vampire can participate in. Nevertheless, you and Adam have been flirting around that idea. So my question is, Velvet knows this is going to happen. Let us assume that there is a point where you are both sitting together. You have been intimate. And at this point, you perhaps have each other's arms. You're holding one of his arms and he's holding one of yours. And there is that, are you going to bite? Are you not? Is Velvet going to be, like, you both have your teeth. And I should say as well, one of the things that's very striking now is that it doesn't feel weird for your fangs to be out around Adam. It doesn't feel shameful or strange or worrying. It feels very easy, very relaxed. So, as your teeth rest upon the flesh of his arm, and his rest upon the flesh of yours, my question is Velvet going to bite first?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
So there is a point at which you bite down and you taste his blood, and it is even better than the blood of your family. And you've tried quite a few different varieties of blood from your family.
Shit.
And they are all different, and you do have preferences of some over the other. But this is just a richer, you get more of a rush from drinking it. And as you do so, you feel a sharp pain as his teeth penetrate your flesh, but followed rapidly by a rush of ecstasy. This is what you've been waiting for, the combined ecstasy of tasting his blood whilst also experiencing the kiss from him. And it is a heady and incredible experience. How much of his blood are you going to drink? You know, in theory, like, are you just going to sip a little, or are you just going to be crazily drinking?
I feel like probably more like the second one than not.
So you drink, and he drinks, and whilst you're drinking from each other, if you like, there is a kind of equilibrium. But there does come a point after a while where he will begin to withdraw his fangs. Will you withdraw yours? Or are you going to drink more of his blood than he drinks from you?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. No.
You're not especially hungry, but it is nevertheless with some reluctance, some effort, that you retract your own fangs and clean the wound so it seals. And afterwards, the two of you are kind of sat together. And obviously, it's been an incredibly heady thing, but gradually, you know, some of that high settles just into a sort of pleasant, intimate closeness where you're sitting probably together on a bed. It is probably something like 2 a.m. It's very quiet outside. There is a lamp, and that's about it, that's lighting the room. So it's kind of a soft, muted space. Is there anything you want to say to Adam whilst you're there?
So can I assume enough time has passed from us doing this that if I ask him something that's unrelated to this, it won't just seem really weird or like awkward, right? Because you've just finished doing this and you're like, so do you want coffee?
So this is not the first time that you have made love. It is the first time you've drunk his blood.
Okay.
But it is not, you know, you have been intimate
yeah.
many times, so having a conversation is fine.
Okay. Then I will say... That was incredible. It was like it was like before I died. How is it even possible?
I don't know. Believe it or not, it's my first time doing this. It's not something that's widely accepted. We have to keep this even more secret than our meetings.
Well, Wallace said it wasn't a good idea.
Of course he did.
Most things that you don't like are things I find it more appealing to do.
He won't want you to care more about anything more than him.
Oh, it's too late for that.
It is.
Adam, you know, I've been thinking about a lot of things recently, and I had something I wanted to ask you.
All right. Anything.
So I don't know how old you are. I mean, I'm guessing when I met you, you lied to me about your age, right?
You mean how old am I really?
Right.
I'm 73.
It's probably younger than I thought. What I wanted to ask you was, I was thinking recently about Jessica, Freddie. What did you do when this happened to you? I mean, about your family. Just. I mean, what did you tell them, or did you?
Well, my situation was different to yours. I wasn't in a family. I didn't have a family. I had family, but not of my own. I had parents. I had siblings. I have to be honest. I didn't tell them anything.
So what do they think? They just.
I assume they thought that something terrible had happened to me. It was easier to disappear when I was embraced.
It's not that easy. You know, it's... Since this happened to me, it's easier, you know, to, you know, it's easier to eat from some people than others.
Yes. I think that's one of the reasons I dropped all of my old friends and moved, because, well, in the early days it was hard. Well, it's always hard, but it's harder at first, I think, to control the hunger. I don't know how you do it, to be honest.
Well, I don't think it's I don't think I'm doing them any favors, and over and above that, something strange is going on with Jessica's brother, and
Do you think he suspects what you are?
no,
That's
I think
good.
he's one of the people who taste better, but it's different than that because he came to me. He asked me to recreate that sensation.
Well,
But I didn't expect that to happen.
you know how good it is now. It's probably the same for him.
But if I do what you did, and I tell them that I'm well, I guess I don't tell them I'm dead. Or I disappear. I mean, I can't disappear from Oxford. But what about Freddie? I'm not...
You have a bit of time yet before it'll become a problem. I would say enjoy the time you can with him. Because there'll come a time where they will expect you to not see him anymore. When it becomes obvious that you're not getting older. They won't notice straight away, probably, but at some point they will. And at some point your sire will. He'll expect you to make arrangements. Look, Velvet, there's something I should tell you. I don't know if Wallace has explained this, but
Let's assume not.
the more times we drink from each other, I'm led to believe the stronger these feelings are going to get.
Yeah, he did mention that. I mean, not in reference to you, of course.
I'm not scared of that, not with you,
No, no.
but I want you to be aware, because I don't think I want to stop, and I don't think I'll be able to if we go much further along this path.
That night that Wallace did this to me, you said to me, he said, if there was a way we could be together forever, would I take it? And I said yes.
Yes.
And then, in the time between then and when I saw you in the court, I disappeared down a rabbit hole and felt like I was drowning in darkness. And I saw you again. And I realized I can't be anything without you.
I'm just glad that you still remember me, and that he didn't make you forget somehow. That was what I was most afraid of. As long as he doesn't know, then we'll be safe. But we have to be careful.
Well, I'm pretty good careful. I also don't want to stop.
He will smile at that, and then, in his own tentative way, approach you for a little bit more
Yep,
of the act.
it's the same.
So, let's move on to Silas. So we are now moving to Thursday, the 17th of January. So there is a court on this evening, which we're not going to be playing through the court. However, Silas has, I imagine, considered to have completed his task for Sir James. So I'm assuming, perhaps unfairly, that Silas is intending to go and report this.
Yep.
Is there anything I should know? Are you just going to go and see him, or are you intending to bring Eric? Are you going alone? What's your...
I'll have asked. I'll certainly asked him the appropriate way to.
Okay, so let's do a quick chat with Finn first then. So let's say you're kind of getting ready for court. Finn is around. What are you saying to him?
So the task that Sir Douglas set me, I've been able to complete.
You have?
Yes.
That's very good news, Silas.
So he's told me to make sure I inform him when I'm done and tell him.
Right, you should do that.
Yeah. So do I just approach him during court? How do I go about?
I'll make some arrangements for you to see him, no problem. That's very good. Right. Have you thought about what you're going to say to him? How you're going to say it so you don't be tongue-tied around him, he won't like that.
I'm just thinking, should I bring evidence of it, or
Do you think the evidence will make it look better, or do you think it doesn't matter? And indeed, what's important, right? But if you think it's quite spectacular, if you think it's going to impress him, which is not an easy thing to do, by the way. If you think that's the case, then bring him along. Show him off. Yeah. If you're not so sure, then just rely on your own strength of character,
I will do that.
Right. Well, I'll speak to Sir James and make sure he's ready for you.
Thank you.
Great. So, we accelerate kind of to the court. So you've had obviously a few courts over this time passes, very few of which, in fact none of which, have involved duels or people going into frenzy or other things. They've just been fairly straightforward, sane courts. At this one, Sir James will be kind of informed that you want to speak with him, and he will make time for you to have a private audience. So, something again that's very striking when you meet Sir James, of course, is that deep down that, of course, all of the kindred you deal with are like walking corpses. But sometimes it's just more evident. Something you will notice, actually, because the times you met him before, he's often been at like the other side of a room, or you've been in like in a grand church. Whereas because you're trying not to be overheard, you're kind of closer together than normal. You see there's something metallic that seems to be like threaded through his right cheek, like some kind of shard of metal, which just catches in the light occasionally as he's kind of when he turns his head. I'm assuming you're not staring at it, but if you're trying to like identify it or look more, then let me know and you can make a roll. But I'm assuming you're not.
No.
Okay, cool. So he will stand there and he will regard you and say, "I'm given to understand that you have news for me."
Yes, Sir Douglas. The individual that we have now dealt with, he is. My coterie were proved invaluable in both locating and making Eric suitable for the blood. What's the term?
Tax.
That's the one. Blood tax.
I see.
So he's being prepped for that at the moment
How did you unmake him?
through physical torture. It's over time kept away. So he has been broken quite successfully.
Your coterie. How did they serve you in this?
For the location, Velvet proved invaluable with his resources. For assuming medical records, so we could locate points of more information about him, Joanne, and for the full breaking itself, Theodore proved incredibly apt at that.
So, your Toreador and your Ventru friends found him and broke him. What did you do in the unmaking?
I was there throughout, making sure that it was definitely him, making sure that he suffered for what he did, and that we know each of his crimes.
His crimes against you, you mean?
And others.
Did your coterie do it under your command?
More upon my request.
Sounds to me like you have done the task, but that you have done half the job yourself and half the job through your coterie.
Yes, sir.
He takes his gaze from your eyes, sort of down your body, stopping, kind of looking first to your left arm and then to your right arm. And then he says, "Give me your hand."
Which one would you like, sir?
The left one. He puts his own hand over yours and continues to talk to you, but as he does so, you're aware he's beginning to squeeze. He says, "Though the task was done, you only did half of the job yourself. It sounds as if you do not need two hands to do your work." And you feel the pressure starting to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Are you withdrawing your hand?
No.
Okay. Can you make for me a composure and we'll say resolve roll?
Willpower. Definitely willpower.
First roll of the day, willpower.
Yeah. Get that willpower in.
3.
Okay. So you're able to meet his gaze. You feel the bones in your hands starting to crack. It's a very slow but kind of inexorable pressure that builds. And he continues to say, "Nevertheless, you have done what I asked, and you have proven yourself one of my blood." When he lets go of your hand, you're aware the fingers don't feel like they're in the right position anymore. And that there is sort of the print of his hands kind of have distorted the shape of your own. So essentially, when you're in tasks involving your left hand, you'll be at minus a dice until such time as you have healed the injuries. And you will count as having... so you're not going to count as having received lots of damage, but you've got the effect of a crippling injury effectively on your hand until you recover it. And it's effectively like recovering an aggravated point to restore it. And he will then leave you to it. So, next up. Yes. So, Joanne, when the 17th comes, which is obviously the date of your blood tax, are you intending to deliver a blood tax to the court?
I think so.
You think so? Okay. Are you intending to bring Eric?
Yes.
How are you transporting Eric to court? And are you getting anyone to assist you in the transporting of Eric?
Obviously, call Theodore and ask for the assistance in bringing the quarry.
I will dress Eric in clean clothes.
Okay.
Throw it in the trunk.
Yep.
And when I attend court with Isabel, I will make sure that she's outside to meet me. So
Sure.
I do not take care of that. Also, it is kind of undignified for Isabel, so I will not do it in her presence.
Understood. Yeah, she will appreciate that. So essentially, you will have already been told to go into a different entrance with Eric for this court, because of course you don't want other kindred seeing you dragging this kind of... Anyway, when Eric gets out, he's still, in theory, a very, very attractive man. But that star quality, that sense of confidence with which he carried himself has gone. He's cleanly dressed and presented, but his hair just hangs in a different way, in a more lackluster way, and his posture is different, and he's incredibly docile. He is also very, very observant of Theodore. Like, he's always aware of exactly where Theodore is in relation to where he is. But he will be with you. I assume you're directing him to go with...
Who will go with her? Do what she says.
Yes.
I'm a doctor. Come on.
Right.
Oh,
He'll go.
You're going to see what I did to him. That's not going to be good.
So he does move, shall we say, tenderly, as if he's not in the best state. And your brain cannot help but make some predictions or thoughts about what may have happened to him. Nevertheless, you will be met by the herald. When you arrive, someone will inform him that you're there, and he will come in his traditional robes, and he says, "I assume this is your payment."
You would be correct in assuming that.
Then perhaps it would be wise for me to see if your payment is appropriate before it is taken on to those others.
By all means.
So he looks at Eric and says, "Be still." And Eric slumps slightly further and just looks kind of like there's only maybe one string now holding him upright. And the herald takes his arm, sniffs it, and then extends some fangs. They're quite prominent, actually. They're surprisingly big. You know, you've seen vampire fangs, and you're kind of expecting. But when they descend, there is something kind of quite bestial about them, which he will then insert into just like a little way in, and just take the tiniest sip. Oh. And then he'll delicately touch the blood points with his tongue. Yes, I believe this is a good beginning, Miss Salt. I will send message to you when the time for your next payment is due.
I have a question, if I may.
I suppose, given this pleasing vintage which you are presenting, I might allow a single question, providing it is not tedious.
Does the payment have to be immortal, or can it be one of us?
Now that is a very interesting question. Traditionally, it is immortal. However, should you find one of us, as you say, who of course would not be one of us, because one of us would be under the protection of the prince. Should you find one who is not under such protection, who was dwelling without permission within Oxfordshire, then yes, you might present them as blood tax and indeed as an enforcement of the prince's law.
That is the only question I have.
Then I would bid you an excellent evening.
Bow slightly and leave.
And you leave, and the payment is paid and seems to be a good one. They seem happy. Not ecstatic, but happy. All right, so...
Not bad for my first try at,
yeah,
Crafting vintage.
Yeah.
you've set a good first impression.
The only way is up.
Yeah.
So we're going to jump now forward to the kind of... You've been out on on Thursday, the 7th of February, but by the time you get back, of course, it's probably in like the small hours of Friday morning, like 3 o'clock or so. And
Before I start it's February, so it's gonna be
it's still going to be dark for some time.
dark until later. So I'll have everything.
And of course, at this time, you've still been on the hunt for Robert Weston. But when you come back, relatively tired from your exertions, you will see that there is a light in the room, but the normal lights are off. And you can see on the table in Isabel's front room, there is a single light in the centre of the table, which is being cast by a small but beautifully carved candle that flickers very slightly. And it looks as if something has been inscribed around the candle in kind of swirling Japanese characters. The candle itself sits upon what looks to be a very finely made cake.
Oh, that's
And Miyuki, wearing a beautiful kimono, will be waiting for you. And when you step inside and you take in the sight, she will put the light on, and you'll then see that the room is decorated. Not kind of, it's not full of decoration, but there has been some modest alterations to the room. There's a few artfully placed plants have been added to set a certain ambience, but there is also a more kind of Western happy birthday sign alongside the kind of the Japanese thing. And she will say, "Happy birthday, Ken-san!"
Oh my! You remembered.
Of course I remembered. This is a special day. You are very venerable now, Ken-san.
I would rather not use that term, but
But it's true.
And I hold her by the waist and get it to me. I give her a kiss in the cheek. Like, so am I supposed to blow on the candle?
And make her wish.
I don't suppose you're gonna sing happy birthday to me.
If you want. So she will sing happy birthday to you. But sorry, before she sings, she says, but only if you blow out the candle.
I will.
So then she'll sing happy birthday to you, so you can blow it out at the end, kind of thing.
Make a wish.
And she says, I've made a wish too, Ken-san,
Really?
for at least another happy 100 years of your life.
For another happy 100 years. If you're with me, they'll be happy. And I give her a kiss. And I usually don't drink from her.
No.
But I think she's been very eager for that. So,
Okay. So she will, and depending on obviously, if you take any kind of lead, she will fall into that.
Yes, I know. I will turn it into a. I will stop making it a business night,
Yeah.
and I will make it my birthday night with her. I will sort of like cut the cake, give her some so she can try it, and then I will probably just put some chocolate on her nose or whatever.
Yeah.
But one thing will lead to another.
Yes.
The other will move forward in the axe. Is that
Indeed.
how it is now?
So it's worth saying that
Okay.
in your kind of early days, in your pre-vampire days, and to some extent in your post-vampire days as well, Miyuki has always been a very kind of passionate companion, and she will be, because obviously you have been, if you like, less so, and to some extent she has tolerated that as a kind of, well, you know, you've moved and there's all this stuff going on, but she will be trying to have a kind of an intimate evening with you. Now,
I will take the opportunity just to give her blood, and to take some blood.
okay,
To renew
yes, indeed.
blood.
So if you're going to effectively, so you can make a rouse check for feeding her, but of course, if you're drinking from her as well, you will potentially just get it back. So it's
I pass my rouse check.
okay.
I spend my willpower.
She will nevertheless wish to make love with you, and
Yes.
the thing, of course, that will strike Theodore again is that she hasn't changed in all the years. You know, she has not aged since the day you met her. She's every bit as kind of feisty as that day, and although she's not the youngest person in terms of her natural age, she is nevertheless got that kind of youthful energy about her. But it will strike Theodore that he has changed. He is not the same man that he was. He is now of the kindred, and so I'm assuming you are going to try and do your best.
Yep.
So
Fake my best.
I need you to make
Yeah.
a Dex and Charisma. Difficulty is her composure.
Oh my god. Rouse. Definitely rouse. And I will be spending willpower.
Yeah.
I mean, she went through the trouble. It's my birthday. Oh, that's good. That's 5 successes.
Okay.
That was
So-
a re-roll. Because I only had 2 successes to begin with.
So you have a wonderful night, and of course, her blood is, you know, has a taste to it which Theodore particularly enjoys. So it's, you know, it is a pleasant evening. The thing that you're aware of course, is it almost becomes more like ritual for you now, by the way, because of course you've made love to her many, many, many times over the years. You know what it's like, but now it is almost like you're kind of weirdly distanced from it, but it's almost like a tea ceremony or something of that nature for him now. He's going through these steps and he's achieving a certain mindset, but he's not in the moment in the way that she is. However, she has clearly no idea and has a great time.
Okay.
And at the end, obviously, you feed from her and you give her some of your blood, and you feel very close to her, kind of, and she obviously is very close to you at the end of this, having renewed the bond. And it's a lovely birthday.
So having like tasted her blood,
Yes.
does it? So it feels okay to me because I have not drank from her since I was embraced.
Indeed. And it tastes wonderful. I mean, it doesn't taste like, it's not the same kind of potency of, say, drinking another kindred's blood.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, it is someone who has been subsisting on vampire blood for decades, and also there is something of her nature, which at this point is quite sanguine, but is intense, that you get.
Oh.
And the feelings for you, you know, the feelings of kind of love, you know, you can't identify it just by flavour, but her devotion to you and her happiness at having kind of given you a nice birthday and being in your company like this, somehow that mood, that feeling is captured in the taste. And it's like a sort of reinforcement of your own feelings, and it's lovely.
Okay. I thank her. At some point I tell her, sadly, I have to leave the bed now.
No, Ken-san.
Well, I can stay here and not give you breakfast.
You must do what you must, Ken-san.
I just slap her in the arm, stand up, get the robe, and make her breakfast. But I start thinking about that, and of course that if it's an intense resonance, that's gonna put me in a very good mood. So I'm gonna be in a very jolly mood.
As you're getting up to leave, she will say, "Do you remember, Ken-san, when we used to have to hide to do this?
Yes.
And now it's so much better. Maybe we could ask Lady Isabel about a nice garden."
You know, I've been thinking about that, and I think we should.
She smiled. We can plan over breakfast.
I assume you already have even plans and drawings, right?
I'll get them.
Yeah, bring it with you. But I would like to talk to Isabel at some point regarding that, because I was under the impression that initially her blood was not going to be enough for me to feed. That's why I've been calling this herd.
Yes.
So does she fit the profile, and if so, how?
So you're going to talk to Isabel about that?
Yeah.
Okay. So Isabel will say, when you were first embraced, you were in a somewhat unique position and were still very much labouring under... Whilst you were my child, you had also been taking the blood of a very old member of our kind for many, many years. Mm-hmm. And so some of his tastes, if you like, were also imprinted on you. But as of course we have spent more time together, that influence has lessened. And this is why you may find yourself able to feed more freely than you had before. However, I would advise you to allow any who might ask to labour under that misapprehension. For if they think you are limited in that way, that is an advantage that you have over them.
Misdirection.
Indeed.
Understood. I'll make the necessary arrangements. But now, I think I have to tend particularly well to my herd then.
Indeed.
Thank you for that. And I just go on by my business.
Sure. So we're going to skim forward in time. I appreciate certain things will be going on over that time skim that we will probably address next session. So, for example, your research, extended action will continue and things like that.
I think there's one thing we can do.
We can assume that is... Because this is happening, obviously, at the start of the year. So we're actually going to jump to...
Would it be fine to say I've fed and stuff over that time then?
Yes. Yes. And Barnaby, under some duress, will be making sure that you're being fed and things. He seems very uncomfortable with the idea of having to rouse you from torpor again. So, it is worth noting that over this time passes, of course, you will feed from Adam at least one more time. At least. But we'll come back to that in session 10. So, we come to Thursday, the 23rd of May, 2002.
That takes both dice to 0.
Yes. So this is when your hunt for Robert Weston has come to a conclusion.
Okay, so the project,
it is also when your business has also concluded successfully. So you will gain...
the contract.
You will sign the contracts.
Probably that night is when...
you will no longer have to commit anything that was committed, and indeed, your business will grow, and you'll now start to have your own resources for the business to play with.
Nice.
Obviously, we've already played the scene in the previous session where you met the Scourge. She told you that in 3 nights' time, you had to meet her again, ready, with everybody, with everything, etc., etc. So what I want to know from and I'm assuming Theodore will inform the others, is what, if anything, are you preparing or doing between now and Sunday?
Did the Scourge tell me where we would meet?
She will tell you to meet outside the Sheldonian Theatre, which is in
Reading.
Which is in Oxford.
Oh, it's in Oxford.
It's in the centre of town. Isabel will have informed you that she has made certain arrangements to get to Reading that will take place from her dwelling.
Understood.
But it will all be ready for you, she tells you, as you wished.
Brilliant. I asked the Coterie to just come after midnight to my offices. Now that they're mine.
Is this on the Thursday?
On the
night that you...
night.
Yeah, cool.
It's just basically either now that releases me Yuki as well.
Yes, it
I
does.
asked her to make the phone calls.
Sure.
And then take the rest of the night off.
Okay, so you will all get calls from Miyuki, possibly via your secretary, but
Yes,
asking...
I've spoken to her, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
But essentially from... it's a request from Theodore Penn to... for you to meet at an address
Okay.
at midnight on that Thursday night.
Yep.
Is that sorry? I'm just my misunderstood. Do we know when you're calling us here about what the Scourge has told you or not yet?
No.
Okay, fine.
It's
So I
just,
don't-
This is the same night the Scourge met him.
Okay,
it's
fine.
the same night. I'm just saying it's an important meeting.
Okay.
Do not delay.
Fine. Then I will go with expediency, dressed appropriately for an important meeting. So I will look sharp.
Excellent.
Joanna will probably rock up about half an hour late in some very casual clothing, kind of like you've pulled me away from my research, this better be fucking important kind of vibe
Okay.
going on.
So you're meeting, by the way, in an office that looks quite minimalist and clean.
Bit of mental.
Joanne's mood will lift very slightly when she comes in. And that has quite a good view. It's a Venture-approved office. So, over to you.
Evening.
Good evening.
I received earlier tonight a visit from Sir Francis, the Scourge.
Everything all right?
He's still here, so it's gotta
Yeah.
be pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for your efforts. The information you provided was invaluable. I gave that information to the Scourge, and in 3 nights' time, we'll move on this light on the face of Oxfordshire's honor.
We will.
Everybody who's anybody is going to be involved in this. The Scourge has a task for us. We will be informed in 3 days' time. We will meet her on Sunday at the Sheldonian Theatre. I have made already arrangements so we can transport ourselves to Oxfordshire and back with expediency. I will assume that our task will be one of 3 kinds: reconnaissance, extraction, or confrontation.
All of those 3 sound like there's a chance we might not be coming back.
Not if I take lead. I would assume you have not seen combat.
Not really, not outside of the skirmish we had at Norman's house.
I played Call of Duty. I mean, if it's the same thing.
Do you know how to defend yourselves?
I mean, yeah, sure.
As long as I've got a weapon, I'll be fine.
I don't
What
need
kind
a
of weapon?
Generally something big. So I can get my strength behind it, which is great since I've turned. So,
Well, I suggest you go about your business or get something of that sort. Also, some of your stuntman gear could be useful.
yeah.
Anything that you can use for repelling or similar stuff. Just
Well, considering guns are highly illegal here, I assume you'd be the one that could get us that kind of thing?
You don't need a gun to defend yourself.
I wasn't thinking
You
a
can use
gun,
your
I
own
was just
talents.
thinking large knife, something like that, you could easily get a hold of for me.
yeah, but also we can go to the kitchen section of any TK Maxx. So I don't think it's going to be an issue.
Also, guns are loud and stupid. So
Yeah, I mean,
it would be better to have something quieter.
Yeah.
it's okay. That's why I have silencers on my weapons, on my guns.
Sure.
But yes, I assume that if our task deals with reconnaissance, we should use our strength in numbers, spread out over whatever area, and keep communications. If it's extraction, then it's always useful to have extra pairs of eyes and arms to see and carry people. If it's confrontation, we should be... Well, let's say you better hang back and just assist in case we fall. Now, this might end up being a diplomatic mission, for all I know. But from the poison's stance of the Scourge, I highly doubt it.
Well, he's a Malkavian, right? The other Malkavian we know is Sally. How open to diplomatic solutions is she? Not terribly,
Sir
right?
Gansuk is also Malkavian, and
And ain't no kind of diplomat, right?
yeah.
So, I think we
You're-
can
you're
rule
not
out the
wrong there.
fourth option.
You never know with Malkavians. So yes, I made preparation for transportation, and I'm taking some of my gear. But if you have anything that you think could be useful for any random task that the Scourge might have for us, feel free to bring it along. We will meet at the Sheldonian as soon after sunset as possible.
If you can get me a large Bowie knife or something, it's not something I particularly want to own around my place.
I will find something. Or actually, no, I just give her my tactical knife. I assume that her being a surgeon, she's better with small blades than with large blades.
Yep. Okay.
Like, would this do?
I think so, yes.
Okay. Please don't kill dogs with it. And I just get ready. See you in 3 days. Start walking to the door.
I panicked, alright.
What?
I almost feel like, is this social combat? But no, it's just a parting shot. So
Did you kill a dog?
is... Sorry.
Yeah.
When did this happen?
You remember when with the
I don't want to be around for this conversation. I'm going.
Okay, so Theodore and Joan have gone.
Yeah, well, but I was outside. What, you were
yeah.
inside killing dogs?
a big ass dog came straight for me, and I panicked.
Well, I like dogs. You've gone down in my estimation.
So
Sorry, I had to. You keep the dog. Sorry.
Have you ever had? I'm for you. Come on.
No, dogs like me.
Yeah, they used to be alright with me as well. But jeez, that
They
was
talk amongst themselves, man. What can I tell you?
I think, for me,
I'm like,
standard stuff.
motherfucker.
If I can get a hold of any reinforced clothing or things like that. If not, I'm not too fussed. Glock 17 9mm with a silencer, AR-15.
So how would you attempt to get hold of something like a bulletproof vest, if that's what you're asking? What's your route to that?
My investment on my Mola.
So you're going to ask Isabel
Yes.
for a tactical vest. She will say,
if possible.
she will say, of course, and will provide you with a tactical vest.
She is amazing.
So it doesn't seem like an odd request to her at all when you ask for this. So anyone else doing anything
There
else?
is one thing, but come to me last. I'm not sure how I want to word it yet.
Sure, no probs.
Do this.
Yeah, I know, I can go first.
Velvet, yeah.
I need a gun. I know one person that has a gun.
Excellent. We're gonna.
Two people who
Sorry.
have guns.
Yeah.
Theodore is one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to go to the other one.
He's having his own guns.
So you're going to go and see Seth, are
I
you?
figure this could be an opportunity for him, right?
All right. So we're going to very quickly play this scene, but only very quickly. So you
Sorry, Mitch.
I mean, I know where he lives. Obviously.
do know where he lives. So you're just going to his house.
Yeah. I mean,
And you're gonna knock on the door?
Yeah, I'm gonna knock on the door. I figured.
So
he'd be in.
so Eugene will answer the door. He says,
Hey, Eugene.
he says, "Ah, Mr. Riley.
Hey, is Seth at home?
Yes, he is. Yes.
Sure. Well, can I see him?
Allow me one moment, Mr. Riley. If you'd like to step inside."
Sure.
So he'll leave you in the kind of porchway before you go through the soundproofing, and he'll go
Are there
in.
any gunshots?
When he opens the door, you do not.
Oh.
You do, however, hear the sounds of slightly violent motion from upstairs. When you
This shouldn't be funny.
when you are like a few minutes pass, and Eugene will come back and say, yes, he is ready to see you.
Oh, good. I'll go upstairs then if.
Eugene announces you from the hall and then stays in the hallway.
It feels odd to be announced as Seth. Okay.
So-
I'll go wherever he is.
So when you go into this, it's the same room where you found him before.
Yeah.
He has got in his, so basically he is wearing a shirt, but it's not done up. And he's got quite a lot of blood on him, and he has got what looks to be an arm that still has something of a sleeve on it, which he is banging on the wall, like going, "Stupid, damn, stupid,
Seth,
tricky bastard."
what gives?
He says, "Oh, Velvet, hi. This is
What is that, man?
this." He waves the arm in your general direction. This is a no good, two-faced, deceitful motherfucker. That's what this is.
Well, he ain't gonna bother you no more, right?
No, he is not. No, he is not.
What are you gonna do with that?
I don't know. Maybe I'm going to feed it to a dog or something. It's all it's good for. It's good for feeding a dog. That's it. And he looks around, frustrated. And you will see when he looks around, there are bits of body. You think the same body. All like it looks like he has just,
Yeah.
ripped it up and smashed it up and smeared it everywhere. It is. The smell of blood
Yes.
does, of course, come to your nostrils, does like raise your own sense of hunger. However, it is slightly muted just by the horror,
Yeah.
but not as muted as perhaps you would like it to be. That's the problem in this day and age. You can't trust people. They trick you. Look one way and then they're the other. Damn stupid. He throws the arm across the room.
You know, I came by unannounced. I apologize for that.
Yeah, what you here for, Velvet? You haven't got an appointment.
No, you're right.
And I like that.
You're right. I mean, you didn't seem like the kind of guy who worried too much about the point.
Life can be dull.
Right.
And I needed to pick me up. And that's why when Eugene came, I was in a very bad mood, but I said, no, you show him up. I want to see him.
Well, that is goddamn kind of you.
Yeah, well.
What
What do you
what
want?
I wanted to know is
You hungry? Do you want to go get something to eat?
not particularly. I can't. Are you still hungry?
You think I couldn't dine on this lying piece of shit? I couldn't
You're right. You know, I mean, it's not a. not a sensible thing. What I actually came to find out was if I could borrow your gun.
You want to borrow my gun?
Sure.
Why?
Well, I need it.
Well, I know you must need it. That's why you're here. But I want to know why. Because normally, if someone wants to borrow a gun, it means they're going to do something fun.
Well, I don't know if I am going to need it. I just want to be prepared.
Oh, you want to play it safe?
Right.
Well, I guess that depends how long you want it for. I mean, what if I need it?
Well, you didn't shoot this guy, and you seem pretty able to take care of him. I mean, I don't think you need a gun.
This guy does not deserve a bullet.
Right. He does not. He's, you dealt with him yourself. I mean, you know.
Damn. Stupid.
He...
Tell you what.
What?
You can borrow my gun, but if you have fun with it, I want you to let me know and bring me along.
All right. I will. And if I don't, then we'll go and have fun some other time.
It's a deal.
All right.
He goes and fetches his gun.
Okay.
It's just like on a table. And he will also fetch some ammunition for it.
Okay.
And he'll come over and he'll say, so, if I need my gun back, Velvet, where am I going to go find you? You never told me where you live.
No, you're right, I didn't.
So where's the place to pick this up? He'll hand you. Because I'm like you. I like to just show up without a word.
I give him my office address.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm just going to make a note.
Oh, that's the second one.
Sorry, I need caps for this.
I need caps for this.
Yeah, so I can find it in my notes easily.
Oh boy.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, he gives you. So it's it feels quite kind of hefty, but in that nice, comforting. You know, this is a gun you can rely on to blow someone's head off, kind of way.
Skill in firearms. Can I try to look like I know what the fuck to do with it?
You can absolutely pretend like
Yeah.
you know how to. Yeah.
Excellent. I'm not going to fire it.
No.
See, I don't need to. Obviously.
You just take it. I mean, you've seen films.
Yeah, exactly.
You've seen
I play
people.
Call of Duty. How
Yeah.
hard can it be? Right. So. I
You strike an excellent gun pose,
Excellent.
and he says, "Looks good in your hand, Velvet."
Well, let's hope I don't have need of it.
Why?
Well, because then shit would have gone wrong.
That's right, and I guess then you wouldn't have had a chance to tell me about it.
Right.
You see trouble coming, you let me know. I'll be there.
You always seem to me like the kind of guy
We can-
who should be there when there's.
We can take turns shooting those bastards.
Right. All right. Well, you know what? I'll leave Eugene to sort this out.
Yeah. Eugene! Eugene! Eugene will. He don't think he's moved from the hall. He kind of goes, yes, sir. Clean this mess up. Yes, sir.
Bye, Eugene.
And you slip out. You slip out. All right. So yeah. Anything else that you want at all? No. Okay. So you have a gun. You're fit to travel. Silas, what about you?
Gun will travel.
I will make a note. I'll go see T.
Okay.
So-
Yeah, she's very pleased to see you.
Yep. And then I will. I'll explain to her that a friend has just asked me on very short notice to drop in repelling at a party. Hopefully with some real weaponry for a bit of a show off. So if
Wow.
they has something like
I mean, strictly speaking, I shouldn't just give you
I know.
this, but I mean, if you were maybe free to take me out to dinner sometime, then I'm sure, no one would notice if it went missing for a bit.
Booty call.
Sure. Sure. I'll speak to that.
Great. And she goes off and will get you the stuff that you wanted. So there is something else I'm going to say is going to happen for you, Silas, which is before the Sunday comes, Finn will come to you and he says, "So, I hear it's all going on. You excited?"
As I'm not entirely sure what we're going to be doing, I'm more apprehensive. I think the excitement will come in the moment.
Aye. Well, don't you worry. You get into it, you'll get it. It's natural. It's just you can't help yourself. Now, this is your first proper job. You know, this is a big thing. So, I wanted to make it a special event. Help you out. So follow me.
Okay.
So he'll take you to a locked door, which he will proceed to, with quite a heavy-looking padlock on it, which he will undo. And then he will open it and go, ta-da! Go in, have fun, and pick something.
And I'm going.
So you go into this room, and basically you are in a room with, when you go inside, like a load of lights flick on. And what you can see is a load of medieval weaponry going around the walls. There are things that, there is probably a preponderance of axes, but there are nevertheless different kind of sizes of dagger. There are swords, there are shields. Most of them have little historical tags on the side.
It's that scene in The Matrix.
It is like that scene in The Matrix,
I'll look around.
but for fantasy, you know. And yeah, you'll see a lot of things, and occasionally they'll have notes where it's like, you know, replica, blah blah blah, this year. Not that Silas necessarily cares about those details, but they are nevertheless there. But yes, there are lots of.
I'll pause, look around for a minute, and tell my dog, go, only one, right?
Hey, it's only your first job.
Damn it! Oh! Because that could be useful for that. Oh! That's yeah. Is that really some Scottish claymore as well? Oh, nice. Oh!
Just make up your mind.
Ah! So I'll go for probably a sword, two-handed, not full broadsword style, but still.
Okay, so you pick up a two-handed sword, obviously, because the problem with obviously the bigger the sword, the harder it is to hide in any sense. But
Exactly,
yes,
yeah.
you pick up a sword that is a hefty sword. It has a two-handed grip. It's not like a full-on claymore,
Yeah.
but nevertheless, it's a hefty thing. Obviously, Silas can handle it, but nevertheless, you realise it's a lot heavier than the weapons you use on set,
Yeah.
which allow you to do all kinds of ridiculous things that you can't do with an actual sword.
Yeah, and look, I'll of course take a few practice swings.
Each is a beauty, isn't she?
Yeah.
There's nothing like the look in another man's eye when you run at them with one of those in your hands, eh?
No, not when you're also pulling a few tricks out your sleeves as well.
No. You go out there, and whatever they tell you to do, you do it perfectly, okay? No pressure. I believe in you, Silas. You're going to do this.
I know how to hand this back at the end, right?
Depends how you do.
Note yourself. Do well.
So he'll give you a slap on the back and send you on your way. So, Joanne,
I'm going to bring the mood down a bit. I'm sorry.
please.
So she's going to wait until August is asleep one day,
Yeah.
box up the ring, and just leave it in her room with a note saying, just in case I don't come back.
Okay. You leave it there with her sleeping,
Yeah.
and you slip out. So, Sunday arrives, and in the kind of early-ish evening, probably around 7 o'clock, the four of you gather. I should say, by the way, Isabel will have informed you that everything is waiting for you, and she'll explain when you get back. Four of you will gather outside the theatre, and you are not waiting long when two people will suddenly seem to step almost out of nowhere. One of them is immediately recognisable as Sir Francis in her full armour. The other, some of you will, no one's sort of met properly, but some of you might recognise from a court as one of the people that was standing by the prince. So she is someone who looks to be in her mid-40s, a Chinese lady who is wearing this very strange kind of silver jewellery. Whilst Sir Francis says in full armour, she is just wearing a fairly kind of sensible set of trousers and riding boots and a kind of a fairly kind of practical jacket. And She is not particularly tall, and seems especially not particularly tall while standing next to Sir Francis, who of course is huge.
Yep.
Sir Francis looks somewhat dismissively at the other woman there, and gives a kind of a gesture towards you. And the woman comes forward and gives not like a bow, but a slight kind of recognizing you. She says, "Hello, we have not been introduced. I am Chen Li Ying, and I have something which I must give to one of you. Who is in charge of this venture?"
That'd be me.
I see no one else says anything.
Nope.
So she will turn to you, and she will hold up what looks like a small, smooth pebble, like the kind of thing that had been kind of in a river for a long time. However, in some of the lights from the theatre itself, when she hands it to you, you will see it seems to have veins of red that run through it. And actually, it's not a grey sheen. As you see it seems to have like a reddish sheen to it. She says, "This is known as a bloodstone. And it is the means by which we are going to see the prince's will done." So Francis says, "You will take this and you will make sure it is with Robert Weston at midnight. Because at midnight, the prince will ride upon you."
So I need to put this on his person? Or would it work if I put it on one of his aides? Someone that's with him at midnight?
It must be wherever he is. It does not need to be on his person, but it needs to be with him.
Understood.
So that when the prince comes to the stone, he will be there to receive the prince's justice.
Yes.
Chen Li says, "Like any stone, this is robust, but nevertheless can be shattered with sufficient force. I have chosen a stone that is small, should you wish to conceal it." She glances at Sir Francis and then just says, "Do you have any questions?"
So we assume Robert Weston has not moved from the last time we spoke.
So Francis says, "You have been tasked to find him. You said you have found him.
Yeah.
Now you will lead us to him."
Understood.
And with that, she looks like she's about to go.
Yeah.
And as she leaves, Chen Li gives another slight gesture in your direction and then quickly follows.
I go and get in the car.
Okay. So assumedly you're heading back to
Yeah.
Isabel's.
Yep.
And so this is back in Henley-on-Thames, which is kind of towards the south end, which is actually on the way to Reading. Happily, it's on the right end of Oxfordshire. Nevertheless, it will take you probably about 40 minutes to get there from here. So when you get back to Isabel's place, which is quite a nice house with its own grounds, in quite a well-to-do area, a little bit away from, it's the kind of place where, all the houses are a little bit separated away from each other, have nice high hedges and everything else. She will be there to meet you all. And she says, "I trust the meeting with Sir Francis went well."
We have been tasked to deliver a certain something on the person of Robert Weston, or at least where he's going to be by midnight. And I just produce the stone and show it to her.
She looks at it. There is not a kind of of course, the thing, but she does look at it with interest.
Yeah.
She says, "I have everything ready if you'd like to follow me."
On the way there, I gesture Miyuki to come, and I go and ask her for one of her pendants. Whether any of them, and some crazy glue or something.
Okay, Miyuki will rush off and do that,
Okay.
and we'll come back with the required items.
Yeah, that's
By the time you're kind of going out to the back of the house, she'll have caught you up with them, kind of thing.
yeah. It's basically what I'm going to do is whatever stone pendant she has, if this is a small pebble, I will just replace it and put like crudely some crazy glue.
Yep.
Crazy glue.
Would I be able to see you doing that?
Sorry.
Would I be able to see you?
Oh
Doing
yeah. I'm not concealing
Yeah.
what I'm doing.
Do you want me to do that? I've got some skill at making things. Maybe I'll make it a little more, and I will try to use my skills of creating things that I've learned through things to make it so it looks like it belongs there.
Okay, yes, I think I'll say that's trivial for you to do
Yeah.
with your skills. So you do that. So in her somewhat expansive back garden, you will see a helicopter.
Good, finally. I'm using it.
You have been waiting for people to, they've been letting you down.
This country is so
What?
small. I just start walking towards the helicopter.
She says, there are coordinates inside for a field in Reading, which is not too far from the address that you found.
Understood.
At that field, I have had a car left there for your use.
I just extend my hand, and either her ace or Miyuki would put the keys to that car
Indeed.
in my hand. And just put them in my pocket. Actually, throw it to Fast and Furious there.
Okay, so you have the car keys. You will be given the keys to the helicopter.
Yeah, I will just
And-
go in, put the gun, the vest, and the sword.
She says, I wish all of you the best of luck in this endeavour. I am sure you will do your sires and yourselves and Oxfordshire proud.
And there is no hiding the sword with us.
Are you done with the pendant?
Yeah, I can hand it back.
May I?
Okay, so you're putting the bloodstone pendant onto Joanne.
Yes.
Okay.
For the time being, that way it'll be hidden in
Okay.
plain sight. And I just sit on the pilot's seat.
Mm-hmm.
Go on then.
So you both Silas and puts on some headphones. You put on the headset as well, and so you're assuming getting into the helicopter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everything will start up as expected, and it will begin to lift off. So a couple of things just to mention. Although you obviously got an address for this guy. You also will have got from Mr. Whispers some images of the place. So you don't have a map, but you do have some photographs. So this place, such as it was or is. Let me just find my. Oh yes, here we go. So it was called Ashfield Court. It's actually built kind of onto Sutton's Park, which is like an industrial estate, but it's like its own separate little island, kind of on the, not literal island, but in that. Most of that estate is, if you like a standard estate you would just drive onto, whereas this is set slightly away from it, off a side lane, and has it is a fenced off area, so it has its own kind of security, if you like. And I'll tell you a bit more about it when you get there. However, you are flying to Reading in a helicopter.
Does it look like it's going to be like a private house, or is it like a...
So it's like, so the company that is connected to it, you all know, is called Bell Storage and Logistics. You know that within the fenced area, there is some kind of large office building where people are. There is also a warehouse. There is also a building for housing vehicles for transport. And there is also another building which is kind of, it's one building but it's split, and it has things like the security for the complex, and also it has its own power. You will have found out.
Can I contact my secretary and find out if any of our holding companies have any connections to this site?
Ooh,
I might be able to get us a way in.
that's a very interesting. Oh, I like that.
I'm just asking for my briefcase.
Yeah.
He's going to shoot his way in, I might get us a pass.
And I'm going to open the briefcase, put my gun in with one clip, and close the briefcase. That's normal procedure.
I will take my gun and try and look like what he just did.
You do your best Theo impression. Yeah. So it will turn out that it's not a super direct connection, but yes, you have enough of that you could try blag.
Okay.
That is an open window for blaggage later if you want to take it. All right. So we're going to take a break very shortly, but just before we do, firstly, it's quite fun being in a helicopter.
I know.
One of the nice things as well is that the journey takes about 5 minutes to fly from this end of Oxfordshire into Reading.
Yeah. This is like the fastest we can get.
It is super fast, and that is a nice thing. However, Theodore, you will notice something, which is as you found the field and as you're starting to kind of bring the helicopter down, some of the like on your dash, some of the sensors that you've got, which tell you things like your altitude and everything else, flicker a little oddly. And you realise they're not entirely reliable in this moment, and you're going to have to probably bring the helicopter in manually.
Cool.
So I'd like you to make a...
Look relaxed. I don't know. Someone else is driving.
Yeah, everything's fine.
Yeah.
Everything is peachy.
Yep.
Silas is at the window like a little kid going,
I'm
Yeah.
answering my
You're
emails.
checking out the view, and it's wonderful.
I'm on my BlackBerry answering my emails.
first time, so many fucking times into that, yeah.
So...
I would assume he's resolved, right? Or dexterity.
I think either, yes.
Doesn't matter.
And it's going to be at... So obviously your specialty will count. Mm-hmm. However, it is at -1 die.
That is 3 successes.
Which is more than enough. So despite the fact that some of your instruments seem to be playing up a little bit, nevertheless, you know how to land a helicopter. You don't need to know the exact... It's all fine. You could do this with no instruments. Yeah, you're fine.
Actually, I make a mental note. It's like, I don't like that new technology digital gyro. I'm going to go with analog next time.
Yeah.
I mean, all gyro compasses are really good. If they're analog, they're reliable. They can last for ages.
So you bring the helicopter into land without a problem. You will see that there is a car, as Isabel promised, that is waiting for you.
I take my stuff from the helicopter and I walk to the back seat of the car.
And as you all make your way into the car and get ready to set off, we will take a break.
Nice.
Okay, shout outs. We have received this beautiful, beautiful envelope. Well, from Cedar. They have our address and stuff. Yeah. With this amazing Christmas card that she sent us. Thank you. Like, I was not expecting it.
Yeah, no, me neither.
I got home and it was there, and I recognized it as a Cedar envelope because it's clearly Cedar mail, and it's a Christmas card. I mean, it makes me super happy. Thank you very much, and it's like you're so talented, girl. Like it's so good.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, I got one.
Really appreciate
I got one as well today. So I got home from work, saw that, and
This means when I finally go home, I might have one.
Thank you.
Also, we have shout outs for Katya.
Yes.
Arglands.
Yes.
She did some
Fantastic.
nice drawings of our
Amazing.
characters for the Arglands demo / one shot that we played back in Dragon Meet a couple of weeks ago.
And we had some other art, which actually hasn't got up on the website yet, which is a picture of Joanne,
Oh yeah.
which was drawn by Kirsty.
Thank you.
And then the picture of Wallace and Seth that was drawn by Cedar. I also said, I think I mentioned this last week, I said that I would put their pictures on the relationship map, which I've utterly failed to do. Cedar, I will do it this week, I promise. And then on the subject of the relationship map, we now have added Eric to that. Poor Eric.
Poor Eric.
Poor Eric. So if anyone wants to draw a picture of Eric looking disconsolate and docile, perhaps I could be
Yikes.
Don't make me feel worse.
and then I think we just updated the description of August because we've met her now.
Yeah, no.
Yes.
Yeah. So you can find those like normal under ShrekNet files on the website. I just keep making this because I keep forgetting it. Yeah. So every time I remember, it's like not a fail.
That's good. Also, you might have noticed that we're in December, and you know what that means.
We are in December.
We're in December?
It is
Giveaway
time. So we have our giveaway next week. Next week, episode 10, season 1 of Blood on the Tamesis. We will have that beautiful piece of jewelry, courtesy of Ames Unbalance / Chris, who did this Blood on the Thames piece of silverware. Is amazing. And all you have to do to be one of the people on the raffle is to either be one of our subscribers on Twitch or a patron on our Patreon. And if you want more chances to win, then all you need to do is convince other people to become either patron or subscribers, so your name gets added multiple times as well. So you only have 1 week left, people.
I will miss this because I won't be here next week.
Oh yeah, raffle will be here next week. But Lane,
We'll be here.
Phil,
here.
and myself will be here for the raffle. So
I say.
get subscribing, others.
Right on.
Do we have questions?
We've got a few questions, yeah.
Ooh, question from chat.
First off, as always, Cedar wants to know how everyone's day is going.
Oh, my day is going. It's just going. No, I'm super tired. I had to fly for work. Like I had to travel for work most of last week and came back last night late after a full day of traveling. So today has been rough to say the least. But it's getting better. And after this is sleep time, so it's gonna get better.
About the same, really. It's going.
Highlight of my day: mouse escaped in my office, so that was fun. Yeah.
My day was going alright, slight burn, but that's part of the job. So, but coming home to receive that card, oh my! Yay!
All right. Yeah, my day's going very nicely, thank you.
Thank you, Cedar.
Thank you, Cedar, very much. I should say as well that Mitch is here, which always brings a little bit of joy and banter to the flat.
With the hair. Don't forget the hair.
Along with depleting most of the food.
Yeah.
He ain't touching my Jaffas.
That is the price.
The price of Mitch.
Yeah, and it's like yesterday when I got back, Mitch wasn't around, and I went for Chinese, and I have to say, Mitch, didn't feel the same without you, mate. Mitch and I have this sort of like a range of dishes that we have for Chinese. We have a very good local Chinese.
Because we have little dinner dates.
With Peter present, which is fun.
I mean, I'm like in the room, but I'm not actually involved, if you know what I mean.
So yeah, I just went for the Buddha rice, but I mean.
So, are there any other questions?
So Altheans wants to know what people think about the Werewolf 5th edition being announced.
I am thrilled and overjoyed because, well, first, they are talking about 2021, which means that they're going to give a good, thorough, long, hard look at how the system integrates into Werewolf. Of course, I have my own ideas, but what do I know? I'm not a game developer. But that has sprung several other thoughts in my mind about the future of the World of Darkness as we knew it and as we will know it because I've heard also projects about Mage 5th edition, Wraith 5th edition. Of course, nothing in the next few months, but W5 coming 2021 sounds amazing.
Never played Werewolf, never looked at it before, didn't really know this was going on, so yeah.
I played Werewolf, died often. Look forward to dying often again in 5th edition. I think.
Again, I'd never heard of it till encountered Vampire with these guys, and there is a bit that says, "Go and play it, play
It's
it,
good. It's
play
great.
it."
It's
Also,
really good stuff. Yeah.
I have not forgotten that I stupidly said at some point that should ever W5 would be announced, whenever it was going to be released, I would run a game for Mighty Paintbrush, Fractus Amazon Balance, and Joshua. That like they already have a pack,
Yikes.
and there is evidence of that on Twitter. So I have not forgotten, and I already have a Chronicle in mind.
Nice.
So you should wait and be amazed. No, just be disappointed, but put it in a nice way.
Lavrentives have come with the classic, what did everyone have for breakfast?
An important question that should always be asked. What did everyone have for breakfast?
Enchiladas. Yeah, enchiladas, because my breakfast was at 2 p.m. after all my meetings. So it was lunch.
I had some cheesy chips like a half an hour before I got here.
I had Marmite on toast prepared by a 4-year-old. Most of the Marmite was on the plate.
If Marmite toast couldn't be any worse.
Yes.
How about you, Phil?
I mean, technically mine was brunch with a doorstep sandwich about that thick.
Oh, that's good.
Filled with sausage, so yeah, made from bread that my team makes. So
So I had a banana and a cheese poop, which is basically a cheese straw that is shaped like a poop.
Was it a $1,440 banana that was taped to an art gallery wall?
Sadly not. No, it was a Commodore Garden banana.
How about you, Mitch? What did you have?
Yeah, what did you have for breakfast, Mitch?
I had a full English this morning.
Full English.
Full English.
Nice.
It was
Moist.
expensive.
it's a good hash brown.
Okay.
And well, thank you for your questions.
Yeah.
Is that it?
With us?
that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty, let's get to work. So, you are driving to the sort of northeast of Reading, which is not very far from where you have landed in this field. It doesn't take you, it's not very difficult for you to coordinate and kind of arrive. I assume you're not rocking right up to the gates in your car, or are you? No. So I'm assuming you stop a little way away and then you're going to go and try and observe.
Sit down, observe, and come up with a plan.
Okay.
It's early enough in the night that we can come
Yeah,
up.
you've got some hours yet. So from are you parking within kind of visual distance of the place, or are you parking somewhere else and then you're going to do whatever you're going to do?
Yeah, we're going to
All right.
park further away. If we're going to do an approach, it's going to be on foot.
All right, so let's say that Silas has driven you to a few minutes away from this place.
Okay.
You're all in the car.
Theodore. This complex has got some attachments to my business. So I'm wondering if I just try to sort something out with security so we can walk on it.
Well, if we could...
I mean, you gotta hide that sword, right? I can't work miracles.
Yeah.
Otherwise than that, I don't know if it'll work or not. But I can give him a call up. See what I can do.
If we can walk in instead of having to blast our way in, or try to
That was
infiltrate.
your second plan? Blasting our way in?
Well, the other one was infiltrating, but I don't know how good your skills are at that.
Pretty good.
Oh, then I have to get over the wall, no problem.
So we always have different alternatives. There is always the possibility of any links to your company.
Well, I'm thinking I've got to check out exactly what the link is. My secretary sent some stuff through to me. But actually, Joanne, you might be a key here. Because there are some parts of this that are in the medical industry, so I would have reasonable cause if I was coming to be with somebody in your profession. So it makes for a pretty good...
Probably the only use I could be if I was just there.
No, actually,
makes
what we want to be is in the vicinity of Robert Weston.
Right, I mean, and you're easy to get in because you look like what you are, a man of business. You're a driver?
Yep, sure.
Alright, well...
So...
I can make a call.
Make the call.
I mean, actually, if it works, fine. If it don't work, we got time to find something else.
Yep. Make the call. I'll look for alternatives in the meantime.
Okay.
And I just have a little wander closer to the area.
So you're going to start trying to just surveil the area. Okay. Are you going alone, or are you taking anyone with you?
I'm just going alone on my own.
Okay.
Taking to the shadows.
Okay. So you slip off into the night. It's worth saying that the area around here, once you're off the street itself, is not well lit at all. And it's easy to hide and slip about. But when you get, and I'll give you more detail in a minute, but when you get your initial glance at this place, you will see that there is a security fence that goes all the way around this. And if you can give me... Oh, I don't know. Give me a quick... have you got any technology?
Yeah.
Okay, give me a quick resolve roll.
That is one success.
So the thing that Theodore will note is that around the perimeter fence itself is quite well lit, particularly at the main gate. You suspect the gate is electrified. And you will also see, even at a distance, that there are people who are obviously up and active at the gate, manning the gate.
And do I see multiple buildings or warehouses?
Yes,
Things like
yes. You can see what looks like a set of kind of linked warehouses in the sort of northwest corner, if you like, which dominates a large amount of this space. You will see a large multi-story office building in the kind of northwest corner.
How many lights are on?
Not many, but there are some on. But on different floors. You'll count maybe a dozen lights on.
Cool.
You will see there is what looks like some kind of large garage where there are a few trucks parked. You will see, if you're kind of doing your long skirt, there is a car park here. There's also some kind of nearish the main entrance, the building which you will know is where they kind of man security and that kind of thing. And that is largely it.
How many entrances and exits for vehicles?
You will know that there is the main vehicle entrance is in the front. There is an exit at the back, but it's foot only.
Okay.
You can only get cars in through the main gates.
I'll start trying to figure out in which of the buildings he could be by the amount of active people in the area and how well armed or lack thereof.
So I assume you're going to have like a slightly prolonged surveillance. How long are you intending to watch?
I assume that her getting all the paperwork done is going to take at least 20 minutes to half an hour.
Okay.
And to have that communicated back, have it checked so when we go where they're expecting.
Sure. So you're going to take your time. Perfect. So meanwhile, you're contacting your secretary to try and get...
Whatever link it was that she told me there was, basically what I want to do is to arrange to say we're arriving, like 20 minutes from now, half an hour from now, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, but depending on what that link is,
Yes.
I will give some different kind of bullshit reason for why we should be allowed access.
So essentially, this is a company that operates in helping other companies to do business.
Oh, okay.
So they have large areas of storage for hire,
Okay.
but they also specialize in transporting things from place to place. So they're often they will enable businesses to get goods from one place to another. They can hold things if need be. They can move things if need be. It's that kind of thing. So the link is somewhat spurious, but there are times where your business has used this company,
Okay.
particularly because you're setting up in the area and you don't have all of that stuff in place.
Yep.
So they're enabling you to get moving faster.
Okay, so in which case my proposition will be that we have some incredibly important business deal which is about to go down, for which I need access to things that are held in storage here, and so can they flag me and my associate who are coming with me through the gate. We didn't expect the deal to move this quickly, etc., etc.
And you want your secretary to try and do this?
So I'm happy to try and do it. I want to know from her who the person to speak to is, like the guard at the gate, or how do I get on the list, basically.
I mean, strictly speaking, normally you would call ahead rather than
Yes,
turning
so I am
up.
calling ahead, 20 minutes ahead.
Okay. She will get you a number.
Yep. Fine.
So let's say she'll get you a number, you will make a call.
Yep.
You will hear a man's voice on the other end of the line say, "Hello, Bell Storage and Logistics."
Hey there, my name is Velvet Riley. I'm CEO at Riley Corp, and you have in storage for me some materials which I need as a matter of urgency. So I'm coming on by to collect them within the next 30 minutes.
Oh, I see. Mr. Riley, is it?
Right? There's an account number or something. like
Yeah,
that.
they will ask for your account number, and they say, "We will." Are there? I haven't looked at the items yet. I'm just bringing them up on system now. Is it that you want everything from storage, or a specific list of items? Would you like us to try and isolate them for you?
No, it's a matter of something that I think has been sent to archive by somebody in my staff incorrectly, and so I'm going to need to go through the boxes rather than just have everything out. But I have some folks with me to help out. So
I see. Can you just tell me what's your? Oh, I don't know. You can choose charisma or manipulation plus. I'll say persuasion in this instance. What's your pool halved?
3.
Okay, they will say. Yes, we'll do what we can to have people ready to meet you. How long did you say you'll be, Mr. Riley?
About half an hour. Do you want the names of the folks I'm coming in with?
Yes, that would be ideal.
I give a series of false names.
Excellent. They diligently take them down.
And then make a note to tell everybody what the false names are.
Okay. So you're like, you're Mr. Pink, and you're no.
I'm obviously Mr. Black.
Okay, so all of this takes a little bit of time, and you're setting it up.
But I assume I will then have a code or something to show the guy that I can get through the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Theodore? What's your resolve and awareness pool +2 halved? Getting a bit mathematical.
Whoo! 3.
Okay. You will notice, Theodore, you're about to leave, when you will see somebody making their way from, because obviously where the direction you've initially come from is from the kind of the set of roads that link this industrial estate to the court that you've come to. And you've been doing like a full circuit and checking everything out, and you're trying to look at you're moving to each different building and looking and saying, okay, where could he be? You're coming to the conclusion that he's probably either going to be in the building which is around the kind of the security hub building, or in the office area, because you're pretty sure one of them is a storage, unless they've got like offices in there that are hidden or kind of not visible from the outside. But yeah, it's kind of like storage and warehouses, which would seem unlikely, and garages, which again would seem unlikely. When you spot someone approaching from like a really random direction, like they've come across country effectively towards the building, you only see them as they start to move kind of into the light, because they're also very well concealed, and it's not been where your attention is, but you catch the movement, and it's odd enough that it draws your attention, and you see someone dressed in kind of workman-like clothes. You think it is you would guess a young woman, you think, wearing some kind of beanie, and they kind of tramped fairly briskly, like someone who's obviously used to kind of walking and exercising across this field. They walk up to a section of the gate, have a quick glance around, and then pause a bit warily for a moment, and then start to have a better look around. What are you doing?
I'm just keeping to a tree in the shadows, looking.
So you think they maybe have a sense that someone might be out there, but they look, and then after a while they just kind of shrug to themselves, and then they jump halfway up the fence in one single leap. And when they connect with the fence, the thing that will strike you is they are not electrified or electrocuted by the fence at this point. And then they do another jump up on the top of the fence, swing over, land, dust themselves down, and start walking very casually across the...
Were those jumps clearly supernatural?
Yes, clearly supernatural. Yeah. They were clearing several meters directly up each time.
In which direction?
They look like they're walking towards the kind of the office building that you saw that had about a dozen lights on.
Okay. So it's probably someone... Like, that's probably the direction we want to go. Supernatural's meeting there. Chance of Robert Weston is there is high. So I just go back, check how Velvet's efforts are going, and
Give you your false name. I give you all your false names.
Fabrizio Pietri.
So you have false names. What
Henry,
would you?
seriously? All right.
What would you like to do?
Well, go let us through the door.
I think the best place to go is the office building.
All right.
I mentioned what I saw is basically someone most likely kindred came in, but there is a section of the fence, and I pointed out that does not seem to be electrified.
Right. Well, if we're getting in, and then we're not going to check out the storage, which of course we're not, we just need to be careful about being quick about getting to where we're going.
Cool. Shall we?
All right.
Then I just sit back in the car and wait to be driven.
So you will drive up to the gates. So they're metal gates. They're open rather than shut. As you approach, they're kind of there for you, as if they're expecting you to arrive. You will see there are actually 4 people who are in uniforms. They, from those of you with American backgrounds, will seem very underarmed. Such a job. They
Bother put effort into getting through.
they do have nightsticks, but that looks like about it.
Okay.
And with them is somebody who is wearing a suit and they've got a file under an arm, and they look like a little bit like they're out of breath, a little bit rosy cheeked, quite small glasses. Basically, a white man, you think probably somewhere in his 40s, early 40s. And he'll come to the car,
Okay.
and he'll say, are you winding down any of the windows or
I
anything?
probably. Are these not electric windows? Or something? Do I have to wind it down myself?
Wait,
This car.
there'll be wind down windows.
Okay. I wind the window down.
With disgust, you wind the window down, and
Oh, cheap ass.
the man says, "Hello there. Is that Mr. Riley?"
Sure. That's me.
Well, I'm Willis, and
We spoke on the phone.
Yes, that's right. If you'd like to follow me to the storage department, I've got your files here, and we can start going through
Sure.
all of the business.
Let's do that.
So he'll start to trot along. One of the security guys will come along. The others will stay on the main gate,
Okay.
and he'll drive you. He'll kind of direct you towards the warehouses. Now, although it looks like there is a car park, there are also like loading spaces and things near the warehouses themselves, which he'll just direct you to park to one of those.
Can't we just stop by the offices a second? Maybe use your safe, and I just pad my briefcase
Sure.
before we proceed.
So just hang on, so I've got this straight in my head. This is before we've got to the car parking space, right?
Yeah, well, as
Okay.
we are going.
As you're driving like across the complex,
I'll say, I don't have an office here, but I have here storage, which is where we're going to.
Yeah.
But-
There's probably an office where he is.
Right.
There's probably an office for the company.
Let's We're in the car. He's not in the car though.
No, he's on foot outside the car. He's walking.
Okay,
He's directing you to where to park.
Okay, fine. Well, in which case, I will try to get his attention.
Yeah, okay. You will eventually get his attention. He'll come back to the car. Yes.
I'll say, we have some other things with us unrelated to this that are sensitive materials. And my colleague put those in your office safe while I'm looking through here.
He did. Oh. Well, I'm afraid.
I'm going to stick with you because I have to go through this stuff.
I'm afraid. Whilst of course, you have 24-hour access to your equipment and storage. Our offices are not currently open for business.
Right, but we're talking about what, an hour tops?
A few hours until we find what we're looking for. It's just I don't want to be carrying this around. If I can just put it in your office in a safe place.
Oh, you mean you have something you wish to put in a safe place?
Right, exactly.
Well, our storage is extremely secure. We can always.
Oh, this I'm absolutely. I know that your storage is secure, but it's not that kind of thing. Can I? Yeah. Okay. Just trying to think. What's the best discipline for me to use to just make him do this?
The best abuse of power for the moment.
The best abuse of power for
Drink
this.
from the jugular. No,
I'm
what?
not going to drink.
What do you want to do to him? So, because I was about to say you were going to make a persuasion check to persuade. This is slightly unusual.
Yeah. So, but I'm thinking I can probably sway this if I just use all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you turn on the charm.
Yeah.
What this means is that you're going to roll your probably, I think, manipulation in this case.
Yep.
And persuasion, and add your presence dots as dice to your pool, and then off you go.
That's sort of like a disgusting pool.
Shall I bother with willpower?
We need this to succeed.
Okay, I'll just use some willpower.
Yeah, spend that willpower.
Well, you already had 6 successes.
Okay.
Solid.
You look at him as you say this, and you catch his eye, and you know, you're a CEO of a company.
Yeah, come on, man.
And
Always have secret shit with me.
he says, "Oh, well, Mr. Riley, of course we value customer satisfaction most highly, and in your case, I'm sure I can make an exception. I will just go and have a quick word with Vance, and then I'll be right back."
Thank you, I appreciate that.
And he heads off.
Yeah, I just step off the car and start walking
As
in
you're going
the
out, I'm
direction.
going to give you the
Yes.
stone.
Now that we're in, she can give it to me. And I
So you're taking the stone, and where are you putting it?
my jacket pocket.
In your jacket pocket. Okay. So you're getting out of the car, and you're going with this gentleman
Yeah, I'm just walking
towards.
behind him. No
Yeah.
one has told me that I cannot
I'm
do
going
it,
with
so
him
I.
also.
So you've also got out of the car, and you started going with him. What about you two?
Yeah,
Are you just going to all abandon the car at this point?
well,
You
We
can
have
park.
to keep up the cover.
they're going. So
You can just park the car and go with
Before
them.
you've left, I'll have asked you what I'm looking for in
Okay,
the storage area, so
I
I can
just-
keep up this cover.
Okay, I'll to explain. It's some files relating to some particular business, but obviously it's just a thing that you won't find. So you can just tell them, but they shouldn't be asking you what you're looking for because it's secure. So if they do, they're bad. at their job.
Okay.
I think.
Yes.
So you're parking the car and hurrying after these two.
Yep.
So that's what Silas is doing. Joanne is going with, well, the gentleman who was going to take you through all the storage stuff has actually gone off
So
briefly.
I'll wait for him.
But the security guard is still there.
Yeah, so I'll wait for him.
Okay. So you, those of you following Willis will find him talking to another, more perhaps senior-looking security guard by the office, saying, and basically they're having an argument in which Willis is saying, it's very important, and the security guard is just saying, it's shut.
Can I assist
In this kind of like, you idiot kind of way.
assist Willis in this argument?
You certainly can.
Because I'm very charming.
Yes, okay. I will allow you to assist Willis in this argument. So, it is difficult This man is very adamant that people should not be coming into the office at this time. He's got very specific orders, and it's his job to stop people dicking around with stupid, or making exceptions, this kind of thing. However, Willis just goes on, and you obviously are there being like, and this is very important.
Yes. And obviously the company will look more favourably on its next contract tender if you do this.
So eventually he will signal over a couple of his guys, and he will have a word with them. Are you trying to listen to what he says?
Sure.
It's not hard. He's not being that quiet.
Okay.
But he says to them, go with them. He says, make sure they do what they're doing and they come out immediately. You do not let them leave your sight. They say, yes, sir. And 2 security guys will come with you. And they say, we'll take you to the safe now. Willis says,
Exchange a glance with you. Just, like over to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Willis is like, well, I suppose I should wait.
If you can drop back to my colleague, because I think
Yes.
that he's by the car, and they know what to do, so they can start.
So
And I'll be on back when my friend here is.
so he hurries back.
Thank you very much for your
So
help.
you will all go into this office. Willis will come back to you, and he says, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Janine Alcott.
If you'd like to step this way, we can start going through the itinerary.
Blush for life?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, I'm assuming you all wish to blush of
Yep.
life, or are you
Yeah.
saying no? I don't need
And
to.
I'm hungry.
I mean, you now have access to look through my business records.
Yep.
Off you go.
I am
I stayed behind.
I am rudely assuming that you have left your sword in the boot, or are you carrying it in a very dubious-looking bag over your shoulder? I just want to know.
So at that point, put it in some sort of bag, and if questions, it'll just go. It's a personal item that.
Okay. So it's worth saying that before you go in to the building, the guards will ask if they can check you.
I will look for weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And I just let them check me. Like while holding my briefcase.
yes. So they will check you, and of course, they will find no weapons. Let me just see if they're going to be super thorough. No. So they check you. Are you going to let them check you?
Yeah, I guess. But obviously they're going to find a weapon on me.
Like, do we really need to do this? And I look at the guy. You don't need to. Like, I'm the one putting the stuff. You don't need to check her. These
Okay.
are not the droids you're looking for.
Yes, I gather. So if you can make a rouse for me. So as you meet the gaze of the
That would be compel.
compel, yeah. Okay, you don't need to make a rouse.
Like, you already checked me. I'm the one going upstairs.
He looks at you and he says, "Yeah, that's fair enough." And then you're kind of moving on.
Yep.
Wait for the elevator.
So you're taken inside the office building. There are nevertheless, the second guard says to the first one, "What are you doing?" He says, "We should," and you're starting to move in.
He's like,
Um,
are we going to go through this again? Come
There's-
with me.
there's an
We
awkward
have an elevator
pause.
to catch.
So you work it on the second guard.
Yeah.
You'll have to make a roll this time
I
because
will.
it's contested.
And it is my what? It is my
Be manipulation.
It is-
No, charisma plus.
manipulation. Oh yeah, charisma plus dominate.
Yeah, charisma plus dominate.
That is 3 successes.
Yeah, so he's been really quite agitated by the first guard's failure to do his duty properly. But when you say this to him, his eyes glaze over slightly,
And I just
and he does come with you.
call the elevator.
And by the time they've kind of recovered their wits, they're in the elevator, and it suddenly feels really weird to suddenly ask to search you, and so they don't.
We go all the way to the office. we wait until they open the door to the office?
Yeah, so they will take you to an office, which they will unlock. You'll notice that they have like a little ring of keys on their belts. And you will also notice, because you've been with them, while they have little radios as well. But no artillery, weirdly. And
No what?
artillery.
Happy gods, they have no artillery.
So they'll take you into what looks like quite an ordinary looking office with workstations, computers, notice boards, very, very kind of ordinary, schedules up. That kind of looks very mundane. Nevertheless, they will take you to a safe,
Okay.
which they will begin.
Yeah. While the guy is distracted with the safe, I put the briefcase on one of the desks.
Yeah.
I just start ready.
I position myself in the doorway
Okay.
between them and their exit.
Okay.
I just go like, what was the name of that restaurant you mentioned?
Oh, the one over in Oxford or the one in Reading?
Oh, this one in Reading here, because I'm feeling a little bit peckish.
Oh, yeah, make up the name of a
Yeah,
restaurant.
I think it's dinner time, and I just go with whomever I have closest to me. Well, I expect she follows my lead. I'm just gonna feed. Also, I'm a little bit peckish.
I
So
go for the other side. I'm there for the.
Okay, so there are two security guards here. One is dealing with the safe.
I'm going for that one.
One of them is not obviously just bending over the safe. He's kind of still more facing slightly in your direction. You move for the one who is doing the safe. And what are the two of you doing?
I just go for that because Silas would probably figure it out. Silas is moving for the other one.
If Silas is doing that, then I stay in the doorway and kind of calmly shut the door behind us.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's basically that.
So you close the door so no one else can observe.
Yeah.
Now, Theodore, I'm going to allow you to do this without rolling because the guy's got his back to you. He's bending over a safe. He doesn't know you're coming, blah, 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 blah. Silas, I'm going to ask you to make a strength and brawl roll.
Yep.
However, the difficulty is low because he's not expecting you to do it. It's just whether you get a success at all, really.
2.
Okay. Before either of them really have a chance to act, you plunge your fangs into them, and they are immediately taken by the ecstasy of the kiss. And you are feeding on them?
Yeah, I'm taking 2.
Okay, so you drink...
No, I take 1
Okay. So you...
because I'm a hunger too. Yeah.
So a few moments go by as you drink. How deeply are you drinking, Silas?
I don't need anything, but I'll drink enough to take up what would have been 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're just both having a sip. You will both know by now this is not going to be enough to incapacitate them. It will just leave them groggy. Because if you're only taking a little bit of their blood, they will...
I'll take a little bit
Yeah.
more. Enough to have them out for a little while. I don't want them out for the whole night or whatever. Something that weakens them, that I can leave them here in the floor, do something else, and come back in a few minutes.
Okay. So whilst you are doing that, Joanne, you're in a warehouse. Yep. You're being shown stuff. Medical supplies, predominantly. Quite a lot of it looks, it's pharmaceutical stuff. A lot of it looks like it's in development, rather than kind of branded stuff that's out for sale. It looks like stuff that's being kind of worked on, and also just various base components, bits and bobs. And he's obviously waiting to see which ones you seem to need or don't need.
I assume there's files or paperwork.
Yeah.
I'm just going to sit down, give him a nod, and start looking through them, kind of putting a good show of it. But I'm also looking for anything that might correlate to August's condition.
Okay.
At all.
Sure. So you will begin to do that.
Yep.
And time.
And I'm going to stay there
will.
until I'm told to move otherwise.
Okay.
So you're gonna make this into a let's hijack their research.
Yeah.
So
That's
it
nice.
takes a while for you to drain these guards to the point, assuming you're not doing it forcefully. Obviously, if you just want to take the blood rapidly, you can do it in a couple of turns. And blah,
No,
blah,
I don't.
No.
Okay, so if you're taking your
harm them.
if you're taking your time, a bit of time, you're at the door, but no one is coming because obviously the office is mainly shut. You do hear occasional movement, like there are definitely people still here, and they are awake. But the bulk of the people that work here have clearly gone home. So it's of some kind of night skeleton crew or something that are here, you imagine. Nevertheless, it is a bit... You feel tense with these two slowly drink. It seems to be taking ages. For you, obviously at the door,
Yes.
where the seconds are kind of ticking very slowly. But nothing happens. No one encounters you, or, you know, you're not forced to have to do
Stand
anything.
at the doorway thinking of Adam. Because they're eating, right?
Yeah, it does. It does put you in mind of Adam, but then many things do these days.
Oh my god. I finish. Open the briefcase. Get my stuff on. Put the silencer on the gun.
Okay.
And then put my jacket back on.
I'll say to you, there's a few folks moving around. They're not right outside the door, but I can hear some folks. They're still working.
Okay. I grab the empty briefcase.
Yes.
Put a couple of papers from there. Yes.
Do we want to
Like anyone. And then I stand in front of the lift.
want to tie these guys up, or we just leave them here and move?
I'm there at the moment.
So you're just leaving these guys sort of
Is there
unconscious
somewhere
by the
is there
safe.
somewhere in this room that they can
It-
be put
did-
out of sight. If
Yes,
someone came in,
yes,
then I'll
you
put
can-
them there.
Did they
At some
actually
point,
open
you'll
the
get a
safe?
text that just says something like, "At the storage. Don't know what I'm looking for. We'll stay here."
I'll text you back and say, company pharmaceutical records, and then I'll say hopefully we'll be done in like half an hour or something.
And I will summarily not look for those
Okay.
and keep looking for my stuff.
Excellent. So Silas, you were asking about the safe.
Yeah, did they actually manage to open the safe?
Yes, I think they probably did open the safe.
Is there anything in said safe?
This particular safe is empty that they've taken you to.
Yep.
So you are dragging bodies out of immediate sight, is
Yes.
that correct? This feels very much like something...
I mean,
they're heavy.
yeah.
You
I'm
can
sure
do
my
it,
heart
but
have
it's...
people that do this.
You know, it's like you're kind of heading towards the... Theodore, you're heading obviously off towards the elevator. Silas, you just check the safe, and you can see Velvet like...
I mean, probably not yet.
You know, trying to... They are happening. Okay, so Silas makes it look easy,
But
but
good, someone with practice.
pretty soon you move the bodies out of sight, and assumably you join Theodore
Yep.
at the elevator. Okay, so there are 6 floors, and you're currently on the 3rd floor.
Okay. Which other floors were mostly lit? Which floors were mostly lit?
Mostly the top floor, the 6th floor, and the ground floor.
Okay.
I look on the door or on the wall of the office. Yeah. There's likely to be some sort of map that shows fire escape routes.
Yes,
Does
there
it
is.
have anything on it that suggests what buildings or what offices on the upper floor might be? Are they marked?
Yeah, generally it's the kind of upper management
Okay,
kind of stuff upstairs.
fine. I just flag it to you so you know the layout.
Okay. Oh yeah. I just take a minute to look at it and go like, okay. You stay here.
Right.
Oh,
Me.
Silas. You stay here in case either of them come back around or someone comes looking for them. Just keep it a low profile. This is our rendezvous point. If you hear things going awry, just bolt. Use the fire exits. And I point in the direction that the ones that will get
I
going.
say Joanne is in the warehouse that we were heading to. So if that is the case, you gotta make sure to let her know as well.
Yep.
So, but also, if you hear anything, text us. If you see anything, especially someone, a female, small, wearing a beanie.
Small female wearing a beanie.
Wearing a beanie.
Yeah, it's the person who jumped.
Someone jumped?
The fence. Remember what I told you? The
Oh,
non-electrified
right.
part.
Yeah.
I think she's kind. She's kindred. So, if you see her walking around, just let me know.
Well,
And then the two of us just wait, a couple of businessmen, and go to the 6th floor.
So you're going up to the 6th floor. Where are you going, Silas?
staying.
So you're staying on the 3rd floor where you were.
Yep.
Keeping an eye out.
Keep an eye out.
Okay. And Joanne, you are reading stuff in the warehouse.
I'm providing the good cover.
The
Okay.
thing is,
Nice work.
you are working for yourself, or providing cover for us.
That's
So-
what we call double win.
Yeah.
The elevator will come to a stop on the 5th floor. And the doors will open. And
The 5th floor.
Yes, the 5th floor. And you will see somebody seems to be waiting for the elevator at the 5th floor. It looks to be a woman, probably late 20s, something like that. The thing that's kind of odd, if you like, because you've seen a few of the security, she's not wearing the same clothes as them. She looks like she's wearing a jumpsuit, but like a fashionable jumpsuit with a bit of a fancy collar. And she, like, looks at you both, standing there, and she says,
You coming in?
she
No, when it's open, if she's not going in, I go like, going up?
she'll put her hand on the door. That's for everyone watching on the camera at home. She puts her hand on the door of the lift to stop them from closing, and says, I don't believe we've met before.
No, that's right.
No. What? Why should
I'm
we?
a customer of yours.
She says, really?
Right.
She starts to look at you. The thing that will strike you pretty immediately as she's staring at you is she is not using Blush of Life.
Yeah.
She looks very much like a corpse. But but her attention seems to be on Velvet at the moment.
I produce a business card.
Nice.
I go, yep, that's me.
She'll,
Well, unless you are not the person who runs this place, in which case then he is most definitely not your
More likely I'm your
customer.
boss.
But and the moment she locks eyes, but why didn't you step in to our office and we finish this conversation? We have a place to be.
okay. It's on.
Basically, quiet down, come in.
Are you compelling or are you mesmerizing?
I am mesmerizing because it's a
Okay.
series of instructions. I need her quiet and I need to.
Okay. So you do look eyes with
Actually,
her.
I am compelling because it's a basic one.
Yeah.
It's just
You wanted to step inside the elevator.
step inside the elevator. Because
Okay.
we're going up.
So she takes your card, obviously, and then when Theodore speaks, her attention goes to you. You catch her eye. You say this. And now we make a exciting...
So for me, it's charisma plus dominate. For you, it's going to be intelligence plus resolve.
Okay.
I'm going to rouse.
I think I will spend... She realises a little too late what you're doing, and she definitely tries to resist your efforts.
I'd say reroll those.
Yes, I will.
Unlike the various mortals you have been kind of pushing around, you sense a little more resistance here.
Just 8 successes, critical win.
Only 8 successes, critical win. Nevertheless, despite her desire to resist you, her arm falls from the elevator and she steps inside to join you and does not say a word. The doors close and the elevator continues upwards.
I think things are gonna get ugly real fast.
Does seem that way, right?
So yes, I think I'm gonna just social combat the living lights out of the
I
portal.
think I'm gonna join you in that.
So what do you when you say you're going to social combat the living lights out of her, what do you mean?
Just take the gun out and I go like, I hope you have heard of dragonfire rounds, and I just put it on her chin.
Okay. So given your crit win and everything else, you can do this without her doing anything to stop you.
I, however, am very surprised by this. I'll be like this. Against the back of the lift.
Yeah, it's like I assume you have heard of dragonfire rounds, so everything's gonna be very quiet.
She nods. She puts her hands where you can see them.
Yeah. Where is Robert Weston?
She flicks her eyes up, which is where the elevator is currently
Yeah.
going, of course.
Are you his child?
She makes a kind of a shaky head motion.
Because I have an important message for him, and then I have to leave.
She says, he's very amenable to conversation. You don't need that.
And I just go like, but I don't want to fuss, and I don't have an appointment. So, I will have a short conversation with him. And then I will be on my merry way out.
I was coming to find out why you were here. That was why he sent me.
Excellent. Take me to him, please.
All right.
And then I just
Okay.
get composed.
Teddy bear.
She says.
I am a teddy bear. I didn't shoot her. Did I?
She says there's not going to be any trouble, is there?
No, I will surrender my weapon, though not my ammunition.
I'll say, do I look like I'm the sort of guy who causes trouble?
She says, well, looks can be deceiving, darling.
Well, in this case, they're not.
Okay. So she will, when the lift doors opens on the other side, she says, might I have your weapon now then? She looks hopeful.
Yeah. And I actually take off my jacket, put it over my arm,
Yeah.
take the gun out,
Yeah.
pull it to one in the chamber. I use
Okay, she takes the gun.
this,
Very nervously, like she's half expecting you to do something.
and I'm putting it in my jacket pocket.
Okay.
And as I do that, I take the opportunity to take the
Pendant.
pendant.
Okay, so you have the pendant.
Yes, on my hand with my jacket over it.
Okay, noted. Are you
I'm stepping out of the lift with him.
handing a gun over to her? I don't know if she's aware you have one. I can't remember if you had one out earlier or
I
not.
didn't have one out.
Okay,
so
she
I'm
will not
handing it
expect
in,
you
yes.
to. So she will take the gun. She will start to take you along. Meanwhile, on the third floor, what's Silas doing?
Silas is staying where he is, keeping watch.
Okay, so everything is quiet for the moment. Joanne, assumably you're still reading. Yeah, there's no reason at the moment no alarms have been raised. Although Willis is starting to say, they do seem to be a while. They should be back by now.
They're very thorough. I've just been... I'm their doctor associate, so to speak. They don't really like speaking with me. They don't tell me what's going on. I'm just here to do my job. I'm sorry.
Well, it's not your fault. As we can just make as much progress as we can, and then Mr. Riley does seem rather rushed for time.
I'm going to start, going through some stuff with him, tell him what I'm looking for.
Okay.
To kind of keep him...
Yeah, you start to distract him a little bit because he is starting to get twitchy. You note. All right, so you get to the top floor, and you are taken to a meeting room, and in the meeting room are a number of people. When you come inside, one of them is the woman you saw with the beanie, who's sitting at one of the chairs. You will also, looking badly dressed for this thing, and now that you look, you will actually see a little bit of mud scuffs where she's trooped into the area. Like, no. You will also see what looks like a man who's quite portly looking, maybe around 50, with quite thick grey hair and big thick grey mutton chops, who is wearing a shirt and trousers and a fleur-de-lis waistcoat. You will also see what looks... you see a man who is sitting on the table rather than at the chair at the table, kind of cross-legged. And he looks to be maybe in his early 30s, late 20s, something like that, who's quite short. but small in a way, like almost a fey-like manner. He's got kind of he's quite elfin looking. Looks like a sort of heroin chic kind of person, like extremely thin, but somehow makes it look cool. He is, in fact, probably one of the most beautiful men you have ever seen.
Oh dear.
I know.
We have
Even
competition.
he is absolutely
Stunning.
captivating to the eye, and he has quite kind of choppy hair. He's wearing a loose jumper which has a hole in one of the elbows and a pair of ripped jeans. But you know how like some people just look scruffy? He just looks kind of cool in it, He's one of those people that he could wear a sheet and he would make it look fashionable.
Oh boy.
So you have this kind of collection of people, and the one sitting on the table says, Amanda, it seems you found them. And she says, yes, I did find them, and as you sent me to do, and they're here to speak with you.
I'm here to speak to Robert Weston. Amanda.
And
I want to break her so she gives away who Robert Weston is.
yeah, her eyes go to the guy sitting on the table.
To the pixie, of course.
Yeah, to the pixie.
Yeah.
Her eyes go straight to
Who
him.
else?
And
Apologies for the rude entry. I look for the coat hanger.
yeah, there'll be a coat right there.
Hang my jacket
hang
on
your
the
jacket
coat
up.
hanger. Put the pebble stone on my. Actually, start playing with it. Tie it around my.
Oh, like it's like a trinket that you fiddle with.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, you can do that. He says, yes, perhaps introductions might be appropriate. If you are here to speak with me, I would like to know who you are.
Absolutely. My name is Theodore Penn. That name probably means nothing to you.
He doesn't say anything. He's quite hard to read. He quirks a slight smile, but it could mean anything.
Anything. And I have a message, and I assume you know who sends the message.
He shakes his head. He says, by the way, are either of you here with any kind of intent of aggression or to harm or do anything like that?
Nope.
Okay. Do you wish this man ill in any sense, or any of the people here ill?
Nope.
Nope, not yet.
I am just sad that he's not the one wearing the fleur-de-lis vest, because that would have made for the easiest jacket find to to palm the thing in. The guy with the ripped jeans and the thingy doesn't look like he has a coat, although if there is a coat that goes with his outfit, I'm definitely putting the trinket in.
So there are a few coats on the rack.
Yeah, of course.
You will see. So he says, Theodore Penn and...
Robert Riley. I give him a business card.
So you have to walk kind of around the table, and you're aware of the others watching. You're aware that none of them are bothering to use Blush of Life or anything of that nature, and it's kind of strikingly obvious, particularly as you get closer to Robert. He is this weird combination, like there is something obviously not alive about him, and yet somehow that makes him even more interesting to look at.
Okay.
Something almost artful in his deadness. So he watches you. What are your feelings towards Robert, by the way?
I'm confused. It's a good response.
Okay.
I don't. Yeah. Sorry.
So he will take the offered card between two fingers and says, Velvet Riley. He says, well, why don't you both have a seat?
Thank you. And I just held myself to a seat.
So you both sit down. Are you sitting down kind of at the opposite end of the table, or are you sitting near them? Because it's like a long meeting table.
Wherever he gestured for us to see.
He will have gestured for you because you're handing the card like a seat. Because they're not all sitting next to each other. There's spaces.
I'll sit next to him then.
Okay, so I'll approach and sit in an appropriate space, so we don't have to.
Based on my business etiquette, I'm gonna sit wherever
Yeah,
I
basically
think-
that's.
where-
So
wherever I think-
you sit down.
Yeah.
No problem. No problem. He says, I understand some others have arrived. He says, are they servitors or should they be here for this discussion, or shall we just leave them?
Well, it would be best to have them here.
Right.
Although we didn't want to make a fuss with any kind or other accidentals here. We came.
I'm sorry. I'm not being clear. He says, are they kind?
No.
No.
They're not. And are they your servitors?
No.
No.
Well, then we should have them brought.
Yeah, absolutely. You will find one of them in the offices on the 3rd floor, the other one, and I just tell them where they are, and sit in silence until they are brought.
Okay. So, after a while, who's he going to send? Oh, he will send Amanda. Good old Amanda. Amanda will get up. She will make her way down to the 3rd floor. So you're still standing there. You will see this woman in a jumpsuit.
Yep, and straight away send a message to Theodore.
Just
What's the message say?
Actually, woman in jumpsuit. No, woman jumpsuit. Clearly.
okay. Doom. Like.
You don't get that text. You send yours.
Yep.
She comes and she says, hello there. She says, do I know you from somewhere?
I don't know, do you?
Well, your associates have asked me to let you know that they wish to you to join them upstairs.
She's a Bernard Warder of the Night Fought.
Like all people in life.
Where do you think you know me from? Just
I don't know, but there's just something about you.
do you know watching TV or anything like that?
Let's pick this up. Let's pick this up in a moment. I've got to find someone else. If you take the elevator up to the 6th floor, make your way to the meeting room. You can't miss it.
What?
You're aware that she watches you for a few moments as you start to go.
Yeah.
Suffice to say, she will come in. You see, Willis, when she arrives, says, oh, goodness. And she says, don't worry. Says, I can handle it from here. And he just leaves. She says, your colleagues are upstairs and they wish you to join them. Mr. Penn and Mr. Riley.
Makes a lot of sense. All right. Let's go.
So, to cut a long story short, you soon find yourselves all sitting at this table.
That's not what I want to do. I want to cut it long. Well, that's what Theodore wants to do.
Yes. To cut us. Yes, we are skimming it for narrative purposes, but obviously you are extending the time. Yeah.
Can I have just made small talk with him while I'm sitting there while they're arriving?
Yeah. What in rough? Is there anything you want to talk about roughly? Because it might be.
Not particularly. Just so that I am in conversation with him.
Yes, you can start a conversation. So when everyone is here, he will point to the man with the big chops, mutton chops, and say, "This is Henry." And he'll point to the one with the beanie. Says, "This is Bethany." And says, "And that is Amanda." Although, if we're going to do this properly, says, "I am, of course, of Clan Malkavien." Says, Amanda is from the delightful Clan Toreador. Henry from Clan Tremere. And Bethany from Clan Gangrel. I'm sure you will do me the same courtesy.
Absolutely. Theodore Penn, of the bloodline of Sir Engel von Wassenheim of Oxfordshire.
I see.
Of Clan Ventru. And I look at the others because I see that he recognizes that name. So it's like clan venture.
I give the same introduction, except I give all the lineage.
Okay. So
Because you want them dead. That's why you named them all.
so you
Name my death list.
you give your lineage list. To which you will notice both Bethany and Amanda look slightly like,
Oh, bloody hell. He's gonna go on for ages.
Yeah, I think picking up that was maybe still for a bit of time. That Silas will proudly and slowly name, of course, those in his.
Okay. He says, I would assume... Oh, sorry, yes. Joanne.
There's 3 of us. The prince hates us. You can guess from there.
So Robert will say, I completely understand. And you have my utmost sympathy for the unnecessary suffering of your clan. You will notice Amanda also nodding, meeting your eye very deliberately. He says, I trust you are newly arrived, for I have not heard of yourselves, though I have heard of your sires, and in some cases your great-grandsires, and so forth. In some cases even met them myself. You do understand that Oxford is part of the Camarilla, yes?
Yes.
Only 2 away.
And you do understand that Reading is also part of the Camarilla and observes the traditions.
Yeah.
Right,
And you are aware of the tradition of domain.
right.
Are you aware that you have entered my domain without permission?
No, we were not.
Your sires have not taught you of domain.
Yes, we were not aware this was your domain.
I see, but you came to deliver me a message.
Yes.
I see.
The place where you are to be found, not necessarily is a domain granted.
Ah, so they have taught you semantics. Marvellous. Yes, how very Oxfordshire.
As soon as the
So you're
semantics are going on, Joanne's eyes just glazed over.
So
A moment, before we get to your message, if you'll indulge me, I might ask who the message comes from.
Yeah.
Who are your messengers for?
the prince, Drogo the Barantin.
Ah, Prince Drogo himself. Very well, very well. I will... We would be setting a poor example to you if we did not show you proper hospitality and hear your message. Let us be clear, you are within my domain. While you are here, providing you break none of my rules, nor harm any of my other guests, he'll gesture to those at the table, or those who serve me. He says, then you will have no cause to fear for your safety. For here in Reading, we observe the traditions. Here in Reading, we respect the Camarilla. Oh, sorry. I'm rambling. Please, do tell me your message from the esteemed prince.
Hang on a second, because that's not what we have heard. It has been very clear that all indication is you have been spreading slander. Respectful is not necessarily the word I would use.
Well, he gives a look towards some of the other at the table. There's obviously something, particularly between him and Henry, some understanding. He says, the prince is upset because of what I've been saying about him. Or you have heard I've been rude, perhaps unfair, perhaps mouthing off. Well, of course you have heard this because you come from Oxfordshire. We are a Camarilla city, as is Oxfordshire, and we are bound by the same rules. However, Prince Drogo seems to think he is something of a special case, something of an island. So yes, I have been speaking ill of him. But I have not been spreading slander. I have not been lying. I have been speaking the truth of his actions. He is a hideous, deformed monster. And that deformity of spirit is evident in every of his actions. Have you met Prince Drogo yourselves?
Yes, we have.
Yes. So you of Clan Bruyere, of the esteemed line of Sir James, have they told you about Sir Marta yet? Have you not heard her name mentioned? Heard what they have done to her? No? Goodness.
Who would that be?
Well, she is one of Sir James's children. One who, when the prince behaved so atrociously, some time ago now, took it upon herself to defend the supposed code that is so important in Oxfordshire, that supposedly is more important than the traditions themselves. I would strongly recommend that you speak to... Your sire was...
Thin.
Ah. Well, then he might know, and if not him, then surely his sire will know, for she will know the fate of her sister, if I do. And, yes, the Toreador. You know, Sir Drogo was not always this bad. Not always this bad. I myself was great friends with many in Oxfordshire, including Sir Thomas.
Is that a man, and I give the description from the painting, the one that is looking at the man with a shield, Drogo's shield?
He says, it is. Sir Thomas was one of the founding knights of Oxfordshire, and a great, great man. A shining beacon. Sadly, it seems his time with Drogo corrupted him. And when he sought to be free of that corruption, well, no one is quite clear on the exact details of what happened. Suffice to say, it was an ugly business. And there are many questions that we of the Camarilla, not just Reading, have been seeking answers to that have not been forthcoming. Oh, I'm sorry, I think you had a message, did you not? No, we'll get to it shortly. It seems important to me for you to understand, as impressionable young kindred, that the Camarilla is bigger than Reading or Oxford. I am not the ruler of Reading. I am merely one of its denizens. Yet I am incensed by the injustices that Oxfordshire is carrying out. They are a law unto themselves. But as you know, hierarchy is everything, is it not?
Absolutely.
Yes.
There is an order to things.
Yes, an order. A sense. And you, of course, respect that. You have been taught, no doubt, by your sires that this must be respected. Such as...
Mine's a little anti-authoritarian.
Well, we must make certain considerations in the case of Oxfordshire Toreador. They have been through so much. Who knows what wounds play upon their hearts? Now, we will get to your message shortly.
I'm in no rush.
Good.
I always try to find the truth and get to the bottom of this.
It is most refreshing to have kindred from Oxford who are willing to discuss. Most come ready for battle rather than words.
Yeah, we decided to have a different approach. So I looked to Amanda, like, let me take this opportunity to apologize for the way I treated you in the elevator. You would understand that if we were to be seen as hostile, we wouldn't have made it through that elevator.
She says, I will consider your apology, darling, and I will let you know when I have accepted it.
I appreciate you considering it.
Robert says, I can understand your misunderstanding. Do you mind if I call you Theodore?
Not at all, Robert.
Of course. I am much more a first names kind of kindred. It's so much easier that way. Now, perhaps it is time we heard your message before we continue this pleasant discussion.
If I were to ask more about this supposed corruption happening inside of Oxfordshire, who might I
Oh,
Might you contact me?
oh, I
Or
would be delighted for you
someone-
to... No, you must stay and we will talk about the corruption. But first, let us hear... Perhaps I've misjudged.
And I just changed my expression after what she has asked and he has said. Have you heard the name Amago Takahisa? And I look at Henry. Because Tokyo is the second largest Tremere chantry in the planet.
So Henry says, I have heard of it. Him, I mean. Yes. Of course I have. Robert says, now, Henry, before you start getting excited about Tokyo again, let us hear the message.
It's quite important. Amago Takahisa was my domitor. He was a man of the Camarilla. And if there is any perversion of the rules of the Camarilla in Oxfordshire, may I request you enlighten me so I can decide whether or not the Lord I am serving is worth serving at all, and whether or not the message is even worth delivering.
A look goes between Henry and Robert. Robert says, goodness.
It's simple. We wish to excise this corruption if possible. I'm going to slip them a phone number from me.
Okay.
With love from
Okay.
Joanne.
And just be like...
Stop hitting on the guy. I know he's cute, but...
And just be like...
He is very striking.
It's like an open invitation saying, when you know more, contact us.
No. The night is young, and we came by helicopter. We can leave at any moment and be in Oxfordshire in a blink of an eye. I think Robert has a case to make, and I believe he has enough to support it. And I believe the people of Oxfordshire should know if there's a blight plaguing the Camarilla.
Robert says to Henry, do you mind if I do this, Henry? I do so like talking about this business of Oxfordshire. And Henry says, of course, yes, if you want. Robert says, so I have mentioned to you that Clanbrugh have been made to suffer at the hands of the prince in what I consider to be an unfair matter. Though Clanbrugh themselves, in Oxfordshire at least, seem remarkably passive for them, shall I say, about the whole business. And obviously you know that Clan Toreador have suffered horrendous atrocities.
I don't know what. They didn't tell me.
Well, you will
But
know.
they expect me to atone for their supposed sins.
And in what way do they?
Wait, hang on a minute. Is this the reason of your blood tax?
I can only assume.
Apologies. Go on.
So you see that your clan too has suffered unnecessarily, even if such accusations against Sir Thomas were true, had he betrayed the prince in some manner. That would hardly seem your fault, nor your sire's fault, nor his sire, nor...
The bloodline stops there.
Well, quite. It seems to me a heavy-handed and poor kind of prince that behaves in such a matter. In such a manner, I mean. Now, where was I? Yes, Clan Tremere. How many Tremere have you met in the courts of Oxfordshire?
Exactly one.
Ah,
Which is something that and I look at Henry, something I'm not used to.
Henry says it is hardly an ordinary state of affairs. Robert says, please, Henry, indulge me. I want to tell him. Now, the Tremere, Clan Tremere, are rather unhappy with Oxford, you see. In the same way that Clan Toreador are rather unhappy with Oxford. You see, the prince does not really like Clan Tremere very much and has not made them welcome within the city. And therefore there is only one Tremere, which is as far as the prince is concerned, his Tremere, which is a problem as far as Clan Tremere are concerned. So you can see there are issues.
What
There
about
are.
the Ventru?
The Ventru?
Right, in Oxford. What about them?
Well, you see,
We're a pretty numerous clan.
Clan Ventru do have a strong presence, of course they do. But
What do you
it
think
is
about
Clan Ventru who bring the Camarilla. They style themselves as those who personify the importance of the Camarilla itself. You can rest assured there are several within Clan Ventru that would be very unhappy with how the prince is conducting himself. Henry says, I would say that Amargo would be amongst them.
Yes.
Robert says, well, I cannot speak for him. I have not had the pleasure of meeting him. But now, of course, I will make it my business to be in contact. Because, of course, someone who has an interest. We have been trying to get the right ear. Someone neutral who might be able to bring a new eye to things. Did you have a question? Velvet, isn't it?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Do so like discussion. Questions, especially from people who are so obviously pure of intention, like yourself.
Well, I'm interested in your opinion and what you have to say on the matter of Oxford.
Well, this is a rare treat. I'm so glad to hear you're not in a rush to leave.
Not at all.
And
Can we learn more about how the Camarilla works
I would
here
be
in
delighted.
Reading? Because I have the one point of comparison with Tokyo,
Of course.
which
of
isn't
course.
a typical one.
He says, now, Amanda, and yes, Amanda, bring me some paper and some marker pens. And lots of colours. I want lots of colours. And she says, very well, darling. And then she gets up. So he will proceed to start with great enthusiasm to start lecturing you all on Reading's Camarilla. Am I to understand you are basically stalling him for time?
Absolutely. And if at some point he runs out of ideas, I have to take a moment, go outside, have a cigarette, and think whether or not this message is worth delivering. But
Okay.
I ask him, sorry.
I just want to be next to him when he's explaining everything.
Okay.
So by midnight, I can just put my hand on his shoulder and say thank you.
Okay. So,
So the stone is in touch with him.
okay.
With me.
So, what I think I would like for this, because he's quite susceptible, but nevertheless, he's not an idiot. I think this is going to be a manipulation and subterfuge, but you are doing it as a collective group. If any of you have any subterfuge dots,
Yep.
you can assist or you can lead. Who is leading this? So Velvet is going to lead. Okay.
I mean, that's not a question.
You can make a manipulation subterfuge. Who's got... So what's yours? If anyone...
Minor bluff, cover up.
I'll let you use bluff for this.
I've just got one in subterfuge.
So you can add a die for Joanne.
I have two with a specialty for cover-ups.
It's not a cover-up, I'm afraid, but you just get a dice for Theodore.
Nothing from me.
You do get your good looks count for this roll.
Oh, yeah.
They are
That's
important to
more
Robert.
original.
And you can have a dice for Silas's good looks.
Oh, I something. Yeah.
However, you are rolling against Robert's ability to notice. So,
So much a prize for this, I guess.
Rouse.
if there's any consolation, he's not rousing.
I will.
Use your. Can you awe people?
I mean, I can, yeah.
No, awe is usually for person.
No, it's not. Aw's not relevant
No,
here.
it's not relevant.
This is
Usually
subterfuge.
Yeah. It's,
This is not drawing your attention. This is keeping it ticking over rather than.
oh yeah. This is a sustained thing.
Okay, make your roll.
No,
Well,
reroll.
Oh,
That's. I think. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think it's only 11 successes critical win.
Nice!
See, who says lying to my wife isn't helpful?
Okay.
Come on. See? Teddy bear.
Oh, better make a rogue check.
So he's a very enthusiastic speaker. He likes talking about... He obviously really thinks the camera is important and that you should be properly educated. Of course, you know nearly all of this stuff. You will have been taught the traditions by your sires. Something that is obvious is that Oxfordshire has like this oath and seems much more like lineage focused than other cities.
And I am... Actually, Theodore is genuinely interested in that.
And he will, of course, enjoy the fact you're an enthusiastic audience. And, of course, you ask lots of questions because you're just padding it out.
Of when he was, if he was in Oxford or what he thinks.
And as it comes close to midnight, Bethany stands up. Robert doesn't even notice because he's in the middle of his talk. But she suddenly just stands up, kind of bolt upright. You know it's about to hit midnight. What are you doing, Theodore? Are you just listening and...
I am listening, but if I see Bethany acting strange,
Yeah.
just about before midnight strikes, I go to Robert and go, sorry. And I gently,
Okay.
attention, Bethany's, like, your friend is, I'm being as friendly as possible.
Okay. So, he says, there's something... He doesn't mind you touching him on the arm. He doesn't seem upset or flinch. He's very cold, obviously. She says, something's wrong. He says, what do you mean? She says, I don't know. I can just feel it. And he gets up.
Should we leave?
He holds up a hand, says, no. He goes to the window. What are you doing? Are you staying at the table or are you...
Walk towards the...
You're going to go with him to
Yeah,
the
with
window?
him. Just start saying stuff.
Okay.
And I just... If we need to leave, we can come back later.
Okay.
I'm pushing my number over to the ones that are remaining. Like,
Okay, are you pushing it towards Henry, Bethany, or Amanda?
Amanda was the Toreador, yeah?
She was.
Yes, Amanda.
With the jumpsuit, yeah. So she will take it. So you go to the window and what you see is you're kind of looking out over this estate and obviously the gates are now shut and there are guards and things. And then you see in the darkness multiple, just out of nowhere suddenly, red eyes light up in the dark. And suddenly, it's like from nothing, you suddenly hear the thundering of hoofbeats. And then you see armoured figures on horses who just come thundering towards the main gates. Everybody, so the others at the table, like, exclaim in panic and so forth. But Robert does not look bothered. He says, do not fear. He says, they will not even see us. So, you witness through the window, you will recognise the prince, you will recognise the Scourge, Sir Francis, you will recognise Sir Wallace, Sir Rafe, Sir Gansuk, Sir Holder, basically Sir Kerstag, Sir James, basically all of the knights. On Sir Francis' horse, you will also see Chen Li. Mm-hmm. The gates are blasted open, and the men, the security guards, scream. They don't even put up a fight. They scream, and many of them immediately curl into fetal positions. Some of them just run. You see Sir Enolf with a banner with a symbol of Oxfordshire upon it come charging in, and he will skewer one of the people immediately with it. You will see them charging across, very much making a beeline towards the building you're in. And you hear Henry say, are you sure about this, Robert? Robert says, they cannot know. He says, it'll be as if we are not even here. Henry says, are you really sure about this, Robert? And Robert looks completely like this is all fine. The horses get halfway across the car park. So Gansuk's horse, you notice, peels off in a random direction, just away from all of the others. You see Enolf, Rafe, and Wallace beginning to effectively, they spread out, and all of the people, the guards that you've seen out in the car park who've been around and on the gate, some of them are running. They kind of move around them, a bit like sheepdog herding. And there is something about them, even from this distance, that just strikes a little chill into you. And it's like they are herding them all into a central space. Meanwhile, the Prince, Sir Francis, Sir James, Sir Kerstag, Sir Holder, all come charging forward. The Prince is at the head. However, as they get closer to the building, there is a strange flash of light that seems very odd. And the Prince's horse rears up, and you will see smoke pluming off its front legs. Henry says, "I think they're looking right at us, Robert." Robert, for the first time, seems a little bit troubled. You will see down there that Chen Li is pointing straight up at your floor. The Prince, upon seeing this...
I'm just taking the trinket out of my... and literally looking at everything, dropping it by the foot of Robert.
Okay, so you drop the stone.
Oh, actually, no. I just keep it in my hand, but ready to be dropped.
Okay.
And I start gauging the thickness of the pane.
Okay. It does look quite thick. So a number of things happen very quickly. The first is that the Prince, he's jumped off his horse, looks up at this window, and he does seem to see something up there. He then leaps. And you see him sailing through the air towards your window at rapid speed. Henry immediately backs away.
Likewise. Well, actually, I just duck.
As does Robert. So, what are your intentions around this point?
I want to break the window, but I think the only way to break it without a gun right now, it would be like bodily throw myself.
So you're just going to slam into the window to break it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to do, because there's only one door
There's one door out of the office, yeah.
I'm going to try back towards that door.
To get out there, to leave via the door, or to block the door, or...
I think...
Okay.
Block? Oh my god. Yes.
Okay. Yes. So you're running to block the door. You are trying to break the window.
I will, yeah.
What are you two doing?
Wallace is here, so that sort of sets my actions, really. So, I was going to do something different, but in fact, I will move to somewhere that's kind of not directly in front of the window, but that leaves me nearby so that I can do whatever it is I think he wants me to do once he arrives in the room.
Okay, so you are preparing yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
Joanne, what are you doing?
I'm going to move up to the others, like the other three.
Yeah.
Amanda, Henry, and
Bethany.
And so that, like, they can hear me, but...
So you're going to try and say something quietly to them?
Well, at least to them.
I mean, he's throwing himself against the window. He's bolting across the room, and and Velvet is... You're by the window, aren't you, as well?
Yeah, but I'm moving. So if the Prince is coming through the window, I don't want to be in the
Yeah, so the only person that might hear was Velvet.
And I'll...
Who are you just trying to address all of them?
the three of them.
Yeah.
And say... They're only here for him. Stay quiet. He will be avenged. I swear it.
Okay. So you say that. Bethany...
Yeah, that?
you can make a quick wits and awareness roll.
Sorry.
What
No problem.
Would I roll against?
No, it's not contested. It's just a number. Because you're having to be audible to these ones.
Yeah.
1.
No.
Okay.
You might catch that she says something to them, but you just won't
I don't
catch
know
what it
okay,
is.
fine.
So a number of things happen at once. You shatter the glass by throwing yourself against it.
Yeah, like...
So there is nothing out the other side.
Well,
or just against. You can catch yourself if you don't want to fall out.
if I will literally slam myself and break the thing. I drop the
Yeah, you dropped
thing
the pendant.
by his
Yeah,
foot,
yeah.
and I just give him literally an opening. So from the light inside, Robert there, and I'm not in the way.
Yeah. So,
if I fall, it's only 6 stories, and it's gonna be a lot of aggravated. But if I don't fall, and I'm gonna be hanging heroically.
all right. So give me a very quick Dex and Athletics. So you smashing the window is trivial, but whether you're able to kind of catch with your reflexes is the thing. As you are running, As you're running, you will see Bethany also. She takes one look at the prince.
3 successes.
You are hanging heroically. So Theodore is hanging heroically from the window ledge. Bethany's eyes widen in absolute whatever she sees. She sees the prince. She sees this giant armored, hulking, monstrous thing flying through the air, and she runs for the same door as you. You're going to try and stop her. Okay, so you're basically taking a blocking action, as is Silas. So can you just roll a, let's say, strength and athletics, or strength and brawl?
I'll go strength athletics.
And same pool for you.
Athletics or roll. So it's strength. Oh my god, your hunger die. Nah.
A big fat fuck all.
Okay, so you get a hand to her jacket, but she just shrugs you off and sprints for the door.
5, that'll do.
All right, you body check her.
Yep.
And you, and she, panics and looks at you and says, "You have to help me. You have to. Don't let him get me. He'll kill me." However, you've smashed her successes, so you have her in place.
Yeah.
So
I think of it at this point, Silas is rousing for prowess.
sure. So the prince, as the prince is flying through the air, Robert realizes what's going on, kind of just sort of shakes his head in frustration, and then lets out this inhuman roar of anger. And you see him seems to be deliberately encouraging the beast out. And as he does so, as he's starting to step back ready for the prince, you see his steps become faster, and there's something about him seems to become stronger. The prince sails through the window, and the two begin to grapple with each other and fight. And you see they both move quickly. Robert is obviously way stronger than he looks. He looks very small against the prince, but he's clearly supernaturally strong. The prince, however, is both supernaturally strong and fast. And after a brief flurry of action, you see the prince sink his teeth into Robert's neck and there's this kind of horrendous noise, this kind of weird sucking noise, and you see Robert's ribs seem to compact slightly inwards. That's not to say Robert falls over or anything. Robert's still fighting, but it's like something is literally crumpling him from the inside, pulling his innards closer together as the prince begins to lift him off the floor. Robert is, however, kind of gouging at the prince and fighting and struggling. Henry, meanwhile, takes out some kind of bottle and necks it, and he runs over to the window.
Can I punch
From
him
which
in
I'm
the
hanging.
face? Because I'm near there.
Sorry? Yes, you are hanging, but you're not. He's not exactly where you are. I mean, you are near him, but you're hanging. You could try and do something, but I'll come to that in a second. You want to punch him in the face?
I want to stop him from doing whatever he's
So
doing.
do you want to block him from leaving?
Yeah, but I mean, it's more than that. I want to actually stop him rather than just block him.
Okay.
Because I'm assuming he's going to
So
try
you could try and grapple him.
Yeah.
You could try and attack
so if
him.
I can get in his way, then I'll just try and use presence.
Okay.
And to stop him from...
So what are you going to do with presence to stop
So
him?
it's going to be entrancement, I guess.
Okay, so you're going to try and persuade him to stay. So you step in front of him, you activate entrancement, you try to hold him in his tracks.
Yeah.
Can you make a, let's say, charisma persuasion, but I'm going to give you minus... So you had your presence dice,
Yep.
but I'm going to give you minus 2 dice because obviously he's got really, really good reasons to
Not
want
to
to
stay
get the
around.
hell out of here.
Oh, can I rouse for this?
You certainly can. I should warn you, he will also be rousing for this because he really wants to go.
I go hungry. I forgot about
Oh
that.
boy.
Oh dear. Willpower. 1, 2, 3, 3.
So you stand in front of him and you try to tell him to stop, and he ignores you. And he runs past you.
Do I have an arm free?
You're by the door. He's going for the window.
Do I have an arm free?
You haven't. No, because you're holding a very unhappy gangrel. It's taking both of your arms. So Henry dives out the window.
I'm very hungry.
Okay, noted. But he does not fall. He flies.
What a bastard.
Not like Superman,
Yeah.
like a sort of portly 50-year-old man drifting upwards. But nevertheless, it is like his running speed continues. But instead of dropping down, he just goes
Okay.
up.
It's still
If
impressive.
he jumps and drops,
No, he doesn't drop.
I try to catch him. If he doesn't drop,
He
well,
does.
I catch him.
He does not drop.
Because I don't want him to kill himself. But if he doesn't drop, I go like, oh.
Amanda,
I just pull myself up.
as you're starting to pull yourself up, Amanda looks at you, Joanne, and says, "Can you protect me?"
I'm going to do my goddamn best. No one else has to get caught up in this.
Okay. She,
I'll move around to kind of put myself between the prince and her.
okay. So luckily for you, the prince isn't paying any attention to you at the moment.
But it's the
He and Robert continue to struggle.
It's the big threat in the room, and I'm.
The struggle doesn't seem to last that long, however. After a few moments, the prince, who is lifting Robert off the ground, has been drinking from him until Robert just seems like this kind of weird scarecrow-like, the flesh too tight on his face, that beauty kind of ruined, and then the prince literally tears him into 3 pieces. He tears the head clean off his body, tears his legs away, and flings them to all sides.
Oh, I've
of
seen this
the
kind of
room.
thing. It's like bodies flung in parts.
Yeah, Seth's prepared you for this. You will see, Joanne, because you can see out of the window, Sir James leaps into the air, and he just keeps going up until he catches up with Henry in the sky, grabs him by the skull, and then descends with him into the pavement.
We are so outclassed.
I mean, when someone has a lot of
Yeah.
potence and soaring leap,
Yeah, right.
like each dot of potence is 5 meters. That's like 2 stories, 3 stories.
So,
Went with potence 2 or something like that.
Joanne, Amanda gives you another look of, really, really, can you protect me?
I'll stay
Okay,
like in front of her, body blocking her away from literally
Okay.
everyone.
Did I manage to just climb?
you are now back in.
Okay. When I walk inside, I look for Amanda.
Yeah, you can see Joanne is blocking, is protecting her. Amanda is not fighting, she is. You're holding your hand out for your gun.
My gun, please.
Yeah, she will give you your gun.
Slapping your hand away.
It's like everybody is okay. And I just,
Are you fighting him with the gun, or are you just, as in, are you engaging him to stop him physically, or are you just sort of?
I just want my gun. I'm not gonna use it. I just want it back. And I put it on my holster.
Okay, so in the time that this is happening, you have still got, because you beat her by such a margin.
Yeah.
You've currently got her. She is struggling against you.
Stay down, stay down, stay down.
A few moments. Is anyone else doing anything I should know about?
Oh my gun.
You draw your gun. Where are you pointing?
Seth's gun.
Where are you pointing Seth's gun?
Probably at whoever he's holding.
Okay, you point your gun at the gangrel, and she eventually will stop fighting.
I give 2 steps towards the prince and put my knee on the ground.
Okay, you kneel before the prince. The prince seems to be kind of calming himself. And he's just kind of staring for the moment at the remains of Robert. Sir James leaps in through the same window,
Because why not?
Why not? It's open, right?
Yeah.
glances around, sees you, nods to himself, marches over, grabs Bethany, throws her on the floor, and puts a foot on her chest, and then offers you his sword.
I put my gun away.
That's a shake because this is like a relic, like a.
This is like a massive, ancient relic Scottish claymore. Bethany is squirming beneath his foot, but frankly, it's irrelevant.
Might as well take her weapon.
He says, do it.
Yep.
So you give her final death.
Yeah. Yep.
How does... just remind me, what are Silas's convictions?
Never, convictions never betray a friend and help those in need.
Okay.
Again, being true to his laws.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. I'll sit on those for a minute.
Yeah.
All right. So the only person left, certainly there is no sign of Henry anymore, is Amanda. And you see the prince turn around the time that Sir James is also now just checking the room. You're kneeling, of course, before the prince.
Yep.
Should probably kneel.
Like, evidently, is like, I'm waiting for his command.
Okay.
I did what I was told.
Okay, are you also kneeling?
Yeah, why not? I mean, it seems sensible.
Okay, so you've knelt before the prince.
As soon as done, I offer the blade back to.
Yeah, he will take it back, and he.
Kneel.
So you three are kneeling. You are standing at the moment by the wall. You're aware of your coterie are kneeling. There are some very scary vampires in the room, and you will hear the sound of.
Until his glance gets on me, and then I'm kind of.
You're gonna kneel. Okay.
Only when his eyes come over me.
You've only ever seen him static in this one position. It's kind of odd to see him moving. And when he moves in quite fast, sharp movements. So one moment he's standing looking at the remains of Robert, and then he looks towards Amanda, and then he is the next moment standing by her with one hand on her throat, and she says, "Mercy!" And the prince thinks for a moment.
I hate myself sometimes. It is not my place to speak, my lord. But she might know of others who have heard the words of Robert Weston. She can help us clear the smear that wretch has put on your name.
There's another long pause, and then the prince, with holding Amanda, walks over, rips a leg off the table, and pins her to the wall with it, putting her into torpor.
Okay.
And
Final death.
and then just says, "Bring her," and then leaves.
At once.
So,
Got a helicopter, right? Should be easy.
It's a helicopter ride to Oxford. I want to be out of
So-
this place.
you have a period of time. So the other thing that's strange is, of course, you hear the horses, the prince and Sir James leave the way they came. They remount, and you see the knights all gather, and then they all start to ride off.
Is Sir Enolf at any point looking at the window?
I don't see why he wouldn't be at some point. He'll probably be looking when the two knights jump down.
I just show up after they jump.
Like, hello!
Yes, just basically standing there, like gun holster, no jacket, kind of heroic.
Sure.
Enolf is there and he sees it.
He will raise the standard when he sees you at the window. And then...
Can I peer around the window?
You
See
can-
if Wallace is there, and if he is, just go back the other way.
You avoid Wallace's attention.
Wallace.
Yeah.
So the knights ride, you hear the thundering of their hooves, but they are swiftly swallowed into the night, almost too swiftly, and are gone. When you leave, assumedly you are taking Amanda with you.
Yes.
I'm carrying her.
You will probably need help.
I will.
I believe Joanne is not very strong. Yeah.
I'll help you. Yeah,
So-
I'll help you because it's like I didn't see the need of exterminating everybody, especially Toreador, because the whole Toreador thing
Yeah.
sounded weird.
So, as you're carrying her out across the car park, the thing you will see is that every person who was here is dead. And it looks like a horror show. There's blood everywhere. Many of them have been, decapitated or dismembered. There is, it is carnage.
That's good. You're gonna be on the way.
I just normally walk.
You just walk normally through it all. It is horrific. When you leave it behind, the night is especially quiet and calm, and it does not take you long to get back. Sorry, you have a car in the car park.
Mm-hmm.
As you drive out, Silas, even though you're doing your best, there is the occasional squelch or thunk from the car. But you will eventually find yourself back at the field, where assumedly you get back into
Everything,
the
and
helicopter.
I just turn everything into manual. I just fly manually.
And you fly, you put it in manual, and you fly back towards Oxfordshire, safe in the knowledge that your mission has been successful, and those of you who gambled coterie points on this will have them doubled. Yes. And those of you who spent resources will now get them back, or backgrounds of any kind. And we will obviously pick things back up
I'm returning the
in
helicopter without a scratch,
session
so
10.
I can get it borrowed.
So thank you as ever to our players who are wonderful and great. This is Mitch Appreciation Week again, so hooray for Mitch, who will get progressively more tired by the time we get to him next week, but he's doing well right now.
Thank you,
And-
our storyteller, of course.
Thank you. And yes, so next week will be session 10. It's the last one of our first season. You will get to see how the actions of the coterie are now received in court or not. You will also get to see who's going to win our prize draw, so please do join us then. We'll see you same bat time, same bat channel. Bye.
Bye. Shouldn't it?
Thanks for watching. If you'd like to keep up with everything we're doing, follow us on Twitter and Facebook. And if you want to join us live, right, where it's more fun, be sure to tune in every Monday at 7 PM on Twitch. Or you can catch up on YouTube or the podcast. And a big hug to all our supporters on Patreon and all of you beautiful disaster ghouls. I love you. Anyway, we'll see you next time.